Okay, I'll start now.
जादू मंतर, जादू मंतर, जादू मंतर. You are going into the future.
You talking to me?
They always be the scene closing.
என் பேர் மாணிக்கம். எனக்கு இன்னொரு பேர் இருக்கு.
The
Queen is dead.
Hello. Welcome back to Queen's Dead. I am Sanjeet. I have Dhruv with me. And today we have three of our returning guests who've previously appeared on many of our episodes. And those episodes have done well. No surprise. So we welcome back Devi, Yadhu, and Adithiyan, who are returning and are part of another podcast, Immersive Cinema Podcast, which is where we've also taken part. Dhruv, not me, but we always enjoyed having each other's company and talking about films that we like or don't like in general, or discussing stuff, analyzing things. And as the topic of the episode suggests, we are talking about our favorite Indian films, or the best or top Indian films, whatever the list
Favorite.
is.
Let's go with
Favorite.
It's the best.
Let's
way
go
to
with
put it.
favorite.
Yeah.
From 2023. We are sticking to Indian films because there is already so many films in general to talk about and stuff that we liked. So we are trying to cover as many films as possible and stuff that we like from different languages. Majority from Tamil cinema, because in general Tamil cinema had a really good year. Box office plus the kind of films that have come out. Malayalam cinema, Marathi cinema as well, and Kannada cinema from the list that I have. Of course, Hindi cinema, which is more prevalent because,
of course, there's nothing.
I mean,
was
of
good.
course, in the sense because the sheer number which comes out.
Okay,
that is
that
what
way.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I mean, there are more Hindi films, I'm assuming, than I think Telugu would be highest, then Hindi would be close second, I think, in the output. So we'll go list wise, and of course, if there are common amongst our list, we'll all chime in if it's there. We'll go person by person. So we'll start with Yadhu. Yadhu, you want to take up and put in your first in the list?
Okay, I will start with a little divisive movie. I would say Ponniyin Selvan II. So the reason it kind of had mixed reviews is because the first part was mixed. Like most of them had like a divided opinion. Like the book fans, they had like a lot of complaints, and the non-book fans, they kind of enjoyed the movie. And
Yeah.
second part was like a very major improvement overall, like in terms of filmmaking, the pacing.
100%.
Pacing was very nice. Like it's like the slow burn route. So it felt more like a surreal art house for me at points. Like did not have to show the certain scenes, but they kind of went to that, like a lot of creative freedom Manirathnam took, and it paid off well, I'd say. So as a book fan, it satisfied me more because I was expecting the first part, and I was little disappointed with how it turned out. But the second part kind of satisfied me, and it left me with a very good taste about the movie. So the people that I spoke about the movie, the two kinds of people, those who have already read the book and those who haven't. The people who haven't read the book weren't really angry at the ending because there is a big change they did in the ending, like the gets crowned. So it's like
J.M. Ravi's character is supposed to be crowned, right?
I think you can spoil it, Yadhu. Even though I have not seen it, you can spoil it. You're allowed. I think because everyone else here has seen it, right? So it's my fault.
Yeah.
J.M. Ravi is the Ponniyin Selvan. So what
he's a
he gets crowned because he's the like that is why the book is called Tyaga Sigaram. Like he gives the crown to the Uttama Cholan, like the real Uttama Cholan. But so there is a big plot that was ignored here. So Uttama Cholan, the real Uttama Cholan is the Sendanamudan character. Here Uttama Cholan, the actor who plays it. So it's like it's a little confusing for non-book readers. So
Okay, okay.
So
But
Even I haven't read the book, honestly, but
uh,
I really enjoyed the second part quite a lot. First part, I was
yeah,
massively disappointed
more than first part,
because
I like the second part
Hmm.
too. I also love the second part too because I read the books, but not haven't finished the last two volumes now. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
getting the time right now, but still, I pretty much know the basic plot line. Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
in my family has a deep connection with the novel, so my
Mm-hmm.
name is also derived from that novel's character. So that's why
Vikram's, huh?
pretty much I have a personal connection with it now. So just
Mm.
like how people recite Mahabharatam or Ramayana in their homes, just like they recited Ponniyin Selvan to me in my childhood, so I know
Okay.
how it ends everything. My mom used to say like just like how just like how Karna used to defeat the Brahmastra during his
Mm-hmm.
just like that, everything about the story. That's that you it's ingrained in your mind and you don't know. So I know the ending. I know the ending. I know everything. I mostly know the details, but still it was
Mm.
surprising to me while watching the movie. But still, it's like surprising to me. As Yadhu bro said, imagine watching a second day of a first day for show of a very anticipated movie in a crowd that's fully silent from the first to the end. They are too keen on observing all the details. That's
Uh-huh.
how respectable the audience were. So
Uh-huh.
that was so different for me. That was so different for a first day, first show kind of audience.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't expect. And the creative turn was so stunning, so stunning. And the staging was really good. I think except for the finale, the battle scene, that was too clumsy for me
I
because
actually like the finale much more. I mean, the
I mean,
second part only I like much more in the filmmaking because I feel first part filmmaking only was just felt too cheap. Like it felt like I don't know the making, I don't know what, because they shot back to back. So it
yeah,
is
yeah,
surprising how, like, there are some really good looking shots and you're cutting away so fast from those. It feels
yeah.
like just too condensed. And in the second part, they're staying
Yeah,
with a lot of
they
shots.
just took one plot line like they took the Aditya Karigalan and Nandini plot line, and from
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they just rooted around, just revolved around it, which is something as the is I think I listened to one Satyajit Ray interview about why you can't make a Mahabharata because there are multiple plot lines and you can't make
Mm,
one Mahabharata movie into. So
mm,
just like that, Ponniyin Selvan has different subplots. So you can't really condense the subplots into one movie and make it into something more clear and
yeah.
streamlined. So they took one. They see in the first part's response and okay, we can make this. I think
Mm-hmm.
that they took the right decision to streamline the narrative into their revolving in their relationship. How it just like a domino effect, it leads to
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's something it's hard to actually satisfy a fan base.
Yeah.
That too for a Ponniyin Selvan like a novel that had a 50-year history is satisfied. But to me, it felt surprising to me as a film viewer. And most probably and the sequence of money the Aditya the Karigalan and Nandini confrontation is one of the
Mm,
best. I think one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
best Indian movie scenes ever to be staged with the lighting, with the just like how it's exactly ditto by line in the book. And when the
Okay.
Karti, holds takes the body away from, takes the body and the silhouette shot, exactly
Uh,
how it's portrayed in the book. So that's how, that part, that was actually the real last track for me, actually.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
think the movie ended there. Then the another war, the everything was pretty, it was too illogical from a
Okay.
historical perspective. Like it's all happening too quick. Like everything is happening to, like they get the that Vikram Prabhu plot. Pallavas didn't have an empire actually. How come he had an empire? How come he just
But then it is fictional, right? It's
yeah,
I mean,
fictional,
it's also
yeah, it's fictional, but still, they took overboard, right, that because it was too, it didn't take the line to develop.
uh,
So
okay,
that's how
maybe, maybe.
that felt clumsy to me, especially during
Mm.
second watch only. I felt it. Why they could have cut it? They could have cut it and ended there. That's how I felt. Jayakanta, sorry, the movie
Mm.
writer, the movie screenplay
Jai
writer
Mohan.
said that Jay Mohan said that the people only love war scenes, so that's for that we made that compromise of compromising reply of him pretty much.
But then it is also 250 crores, whatever 300 crore budget.
Yeah, it also
people won't.
goes to it.
Yeah, I mean it did, but because that could also be one of the reasons, right? Not just something.
You need to give a spectacle. You need to give a spectacle.
Yeah. Part of the whole experience. Yeah,
I
you can
liked
go
it.
with your second pick.
Next.
Okay. So second movie is Viduthalai Part I. So this one, it was sort of based on real life events, and it challenges the status quo, and it highlights the police custodial tortures, and this one, it doesn't feel like a commercial movie at all. Like the way they went compared to Vetrimaran's usual style, it was more like the Visaranai one. So they had this very organic story going on, and from the Suri's perspective,
Editing was Vada Chennai though. Full on.
Like for Suri, it's like the starting point as a hero. Like usually and people started like taking him seriously after this. Like he really did a very good job as portraying that character. So and technically Vetrimaran had this one-shot sequence in the train bombing thing. So in all his roundtable interviews, he was explaining that, and it was fascinating to watch, like how they executed that. And with each movie, he's like trying something. Like he doesn't get comfortable with the craft, and he's like challenging himself to do something. And like my only issue was there was this background music not syncing well towards the end. Like could have been better. So anyway, I'm like looking forward to the second part.
Yeah.
Like a whole opinion, because what Chennai, it's still in like question whether it's coming or not.
There was sequel planned, right, for Vada Chennai also?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, but I wanted to ask, there are two cuts, right? Because I've not watched, I've only watched the first scene of the film, but I have to watch the whole film, of course.
Yeah, but there's a 5-hour cut actually. 5-hour cut and 1-hour cut. One recently, Santosh Narayanan in an interview while promoting Dasara. No, I'm talking about Vada Chennai. Santosh Narayan said that during Dasara promotions, he said that Vetrimaran has one cut. Rajan Vagayara seems that Rajan's, Rajan characters.
No, but
prequel story.
The cut that you watched is the same 5-hour cut. He's just condensed it. No. If you see, there are scenes which were shot as is, but he's edited those scenes down to whatever. So it is not like 5 hours has like something much more. It is mostly the same scenes, but they've been shortened down to that length. But what Dhruv was asking was Viduthalai has two cuts.
Two cuts on
there is a
director's cut. And
Director's cut. That's
on
recently
Z5.
Is there a big difference? Which one should I watch?
think
sort of like that one I'm asking. Yeah.
This director's cut is very much better, because there is this like subplots going on, like with the police guys, like they're like tired of eating the same dish every day, and they like it humanizes their struggles more, how it is to be in the camp. What chow chow they eat that every day, and like small plot lines like that. I think the director's cut is much better. Like I would say watch that.
And some plot murder. There's also extra plot involving there is involving they plot the murder of Suri character too. That director's cut. So that's not in that theatrical cut actually.
Got it.
That makes a big difference.
This was in someone else's list also, Sanjeet? Or no? Just Yadhu's?
Viduthalai is not in anyone's list, but I liked it too. As well. I mean,
I also liked it a lot.
I liked it.
I mean, it's
seeing something on such seeing a Vetrimaran film on such a big canvas. Another thing, and even how the train, the beginning shot, that maybe
the long take.
Getting to know the details behind it was it was very surprising, and that too coming from Vetrimaran, and yeah,
Mhm.
There is a
it
very good interview with the DOP also who shot the film.
Yeah, that was
Will
great.
Raj. It's on YouTube only, and he explains it with even more detail.
Hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
what Vetrimaran just did was he explained like, okay, X goes to Y, Y goes to Z.
correct, yeah.
Here in that Vilraj interview, he's telling the details of also of how and what and why of X, and then goes to how they're going to Y, and then why are they using the Y part and all that also. So it's very interesting
For
that
the
And
way.
as
cinematographer or for
Yadhu said,
everyone?
No, in general, I think it's
Fine.
just interesting to hear
Asking.
the process. No, if you're
Got it.
interested
Of
in,
course. Of course.
I think there was this part where they lifted that guy with the camera and he was in
with
the
on
air.
the crane, yeah.
It's just like the for the perfection, the risk that they're taking, it has to be spoken.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
and Suri's performance was also amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing that film with Ram now, right?
Yes.
Kadal, Malai.
Elu Kadal
Hero
Edu.
Kada Yerumale. Yeah. That is also looks
But
interesting.
more than the first single shot, I loved that, for when first after Suri recruits, he goes to the mountains to deliver the food to all the camps, and
Yeah.
suddenly you get a God's eye view of the mountains covered with
Yeah.
fog, and just like how
Forest and all
minuscule
that.
he is. That's with the
Yeah.
village Raja's background. That was majestic for me. I mean,
Fantastic. Yeah.
so majestic for me. They
Mm-hmm.
said that they thought they want to finish it in 6 months. They thought it will be like a small project, but then
Yeah.
when they gone to the terrains, mountain region, the filmmaking
They
was too hard. They said so.
yeah. They shot
It
for
took
so
a lot.
long.
Yeah, they shot
Yeah.
for so long.
But
And
what they're saying is the part two is already been shot. I think 10 or
yeah,
12 days more is left.
yeah.
And it's coming out because they're going to play the film in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm
Feb,
sure.
no? Or
Yeah.
March.
And even it's
Yeah.
playing in PIF also, in Pune also.
Okay.
So what I'm assuming is they play in all these festivals because they know they're leading
Hmm.
to the
Mhm.
second part. That is why they're trying to build the hype
Got
in
it.
general.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
So I'm
exactly.
assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yadu, you wanna go
Yeah.
ahead?
What third movie is Purusha Pretham. So I was a big fan of this director's previous work, that is Avasi Vyuham. So
Hours of your home. Yeah.
like Avasi Vyuham was like totally different, like mockumentary plus like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of different genre mixed, and we have never seen a movie like that in India. This is what I believe. And
Yeah.
Pretham was like a dark comedy. Like I found myself like laughing at very serious moments there. We have this very great police character as the main character, and he's like the way he narrates the story and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like there is so much humor added, and it's and like Dhruv said in his review, like technically they have like a lot of things, creatively they have sorted, and the way they use the
Mm-hmm.
colors and all that, it's
Hmm. Yeah,
uh
no, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I watched this. I think also because I was told to watch Avasya Vyuham, and I actually did follow the assignment, and I really liked the film. So I was looking forward to the director's other second work, and I liked the film. I think that I said, I think in whatever I had written, small, like whatever short thing I'd written was that the showiness of or the camera stuff and editing is both the film's biggest strength and weakness in a sense for me, because it was the idea
Mm-hmm.
that it was so noticeable in every scene. I was consistently questioning myself. I was like, has the director intended this, or has he just put the camera in a wrong place? Because I know Sanjeet hasn't seen it, but like there's
Mm-hmm.
this and I'll spoil it. Sorry, Sanjeet, your fault. So the people are basically at like the edges of the frame, and like not just edges, like almost in the outside the margin, they have like a part of their body, placed, and the short reverse shots are also like that. And a lot of times the cutting is, if I don't remember wrong, it doesn't follow the 180-degree rule at all. It's sort of,
Okay.
it's very disorienting to watch in a way which I was sometimes I thought, I don't know if this is stylistic choice is matching with what the story is going for. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the more the story goes on, I also sort of got into the story itself, which is about this police officer who's trying to I actually remember now, because Yadhu said, like, I remember liking the earlier portions also quite a bit, where basically there's a bureaucracy in a sense of, who two sections of the border or territory want the body to go to the other side. Like, they don't want to take responsibility about incompetence of, like, a lot of whatever police laws and everything, and just masculinity also, from whatever I remember, quite a lot of, like, critique of toxic almost masculinity. So
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was just taken aback by how much the style was there. So yeah, interesting director, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Devi also. It's on Devi's
Yeah,
list, right?
yeah. I
Yeah.
actually I also like the
It's not on the
movie,
list, but
Okay, never
but
mind. Sorry.
I love the movie.
Yeah.
So I just add on to something that Dhruv told,
Mhm.
but
mm-hmm.
in a different sense.
Mhm.
Because there is this sense of, I don't know what to call it. It's very um illogical, or
Mhm.
even absurd in a sense.
Yeah.
If you see Avasa Vyuham also, how Yadhu told, there is always there's this mix of genres.
Mhm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
even it follows the same pattern in one sense. It follows the same pattern in Purusha Pretham, where it's
Mhm.
actually a procedural drama.
Mhm.
Then but still it gets infused with a lot of comedy and lot of dark humor.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's and still, as you were telling, there's this, even in how it is shot, there is an absurdity.
Mhm.
When I was first watching the film,
Mm-hmm.
even the use of reds and greens, everything. But this was, yes, as you said, it was very stark,
Mhm.
moving the characters to one edge of
Yeah.
the,
I think you had made a post about this, no, Devi?
yes, 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 I
Yes.
did.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was very stark, and that was very, like, as you said, like, almost on the face kind of a feel.
Mhm.
But I think it in a way contributes to that absurdity of how
Mhm.
he
Mm-hmm.
works, and
Yeah.
also, like,
Yeah.
how do I say? What I basically felt when I first watched it is, in
Mhm.
the grand scheme of things, how we are all, somewhere in that, in the side, somewhere so
Mhm.
small,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's not
I think
it's not
dehumanization slightly, like, of.
in a way,
Yeah.
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 So that was the first thing that struck me. I do not
Mhm.
know what he intended.
I think it
Uh,
was something like that. There is one thing I was reading. It's been a while now, so but we will link the article, I suppose, where he does explain the decision to
Okay.
shoot this way and, frame the
Okay.
characters this way. So
yeah.
yes, we will.
Because
Mm-hmm.
he keeps on telling this, Sebastian, the main
Hmm.
sub inspector character, like Yadhu told, he
Hmm.
keeps on creating certain stories,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
to showcase himself as a hero.
Hero. Hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there is these half truths,
Hmm.
these
Hmm.
myths or half truths. So somewhere, that half face is also I
Hmm.
don't know, maybe I'm reading too much
Yeah.
into it.
No, no, no. It
When I
makes
first
sense.
saw it,
Hmm.
that was the first reaction that I
Hmm.
had
Hmm.
after I finished watching the
Yeah.
film.
It is a lot about deceit only. Everyone sort of,
Yeah.
no one's telling the truth to people essentially also. So a lot of that is also going
Mm-hmm.
on.
Okay. Okay.
But yes, yeah.
Mm,
In
sounds
that,
interesting.
like, I just wanted to mention that even the character that Jagdish plays, this year he played like two great roles, like in this Purusha Pretham and Falimy. So in Falimy,
Mhm.
I'll come back later. But I just
Mhm.
wanted to mention
Mhm.
that role was well played, Jagdish. Like,
Mhm.
he usually plays his comedian in movies, and now he's like again like like Suri is like taking serious roles.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yours, I think next, right? Yadus?
Yeah.
so Nanpakal Nerathu Mayakkam, right, Sanjit?
Yeah. 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 Which is also on mine and Dhruv's list.
Yeah, I'll go after you guys.
No, we have gone already quite a bit. Actually, it's
You
weird how many times Nanpakal has actually featured on a podcast. Like, it was there
a
last
number of
year.
times
Last year, Mahidhar included in his best of, I remember. Then we had,
because he watched it in
yeah,
Iffy,
and then we did the best of mid-year, in which it was also
which was
included by
also
us.
there. Yeah.
So yeah, showed up a lot of times. So I don't want to go tell people to just, like, go and listen our older
Mm.
stuff. But I think we've discussed it just the, like, to put it sort of like sum it up in a sense, I think the gentle surrealism, if you want to go about it, like it just feels that like again capturing the whole idea of falling asleep in a
Yeah.
that's the midday slumber, right? I
Mid
think that's
slumber. Yeah.
yeah. So I
English
think
title.
I actually did fall asleep when I watched it in the cinema, considering I didn't know I didn't know it was this pacing that the film is going for. So I was like not prepared for it. So it was interesting, and then but I've also revisited since then, and I think just the
Mm-hmm.
way he like directs scenes and the way how sound design consistently engulfs
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
and slightly pushes you into this different sort of zone of where you don't know what is and I
Yeah.
do like this whole idea of border in a sense border crossing, which is so easy to do but also then slightly difficult to maintain. So I like how it sort of like stays in that middle zone of reality and dream, and sort of everything seems to
Yeah.
take place
Yeah.
in that realm. And I think I remember one of the things that I noticed on my second watch was just how many open windows are there in this, or just use of windows in general in the film, and
Mm-hmm.
just how that sort of is almost like a portal to move through to another realm, and
Time
then
and
yeah,
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 real.
yeah, to time and place. And but you can also move out of it. I think the opening shot I still remember is like almost two doors where one person is walking into and out, and I was like, is that, I'm pretty sure, because his camera work is very deliberate
Starts with
here.
a gallery, right? I mean, it's a
Gallery
gallery in a
almost.
hotel or
Yes, yes, yes. There's two zones though. There's two doors almost open, and you can like walk
yeah,
through
yeah, yeah.
one, go through the other. So the way he and I'm doing hand actions while doing this, but knowing that this is not going to get a video or whatever thing. But anyways,
Uh-huh.
but yes, the idea is very much that that
Mm-hmm.
idea of just not being sure and certain of where you are, what you're doing. But I think it's
I mean,
the way it sees it is quite liberating. I think the
yeah,
way the
yeah.
film sees it is quite liberating.
I really like how Lijo Jose really uses camera and sound in general,
Mhm.
because he's very aware of the fact that he can use these tools without really doing much, like on screen really. I mean,
Hmm.
even though it is happening on screen, you really aren't doing overtly big things. Like even in Churuli, it is that crossing of bridge which kind of changes things, right?
I
And it
still
is such a
remember
simple.
that
I mean,
sound of the
yeah,
wheel
yeah,
sound, which I remember when it passes
the
into
whole
another
language
realm.
of film changes once they are on the bridge, like they're trying to cross it,
Yes,
because the kind of camera
cam.
angles and the
Hmm.
kind of cameras also they're using
Yeah,
drastically change.
yeah.
I mean, so it's simple techniques, and I think he's kind of, it's a great, like Churuli was a great transition for him from Jellicut to this, form wise, stylistically, and story wise as well. And even though he's using like the smallest of the smallest techniques, they kind of translate. And when they translate, I think those techniques are a 10 on 10 for me.
Hmm.
Like in this, and how slowly he kind of seeps in that idea is interesting. Like when they get onto that bus, and the bus
Hmm.
is moving with the
Oh
sound
yeah.
playing in the
Hmm.
back, and there is that swell in sound where he actually asks the bus to stop, and he
Yes.
wakes up from that sleep, right?
Yeah. And
Such
then
a
you
simple
get an
thing.
inverted shot of the whole bus, I think, or whatever you get, like a mirror image. No, not an inverted shot, but you get a mirror image where the whole bus seems like it's like upside down or something like that. I've forgotten. I'm
I
trying to
remember
remember.
the cameras placed in front of all of the passengers,
Hmm.
and the music is playing,
Hmm.
and the music kind of swells, and then he wakes up at that
Wakes
point,
up. Yes, yes.
and then he asks the driver to stop the bus, and he gets
Yeah.
out and starts walking through the field.
Yeah.
But
And it
it's
just
such a
keeps on
simple,
going, right? It just
keeps
keeps
on
on
walking, and it's a
walking, 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 and
massive
then he
wide
automatically
shot.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
even love the last rupture. Sorry, we've gone on. I said we won't talk about this, and then we've gone off and talked about it for 5, 10 minutes. But no, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's the second, the waking up from the sleep is the other big moment. And I think Devi had mentioned once
Mm-hmm.
ki the acting of Mammootty actually gets a proper, because a lot of the film takes place so much on a wider sort of level and not on close up level, that when you
Yeah, yeah.
finally see his face in the mirror and him
Close up.
looking,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the big impact I think you get from
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the so
I got goosebumps
filmmaking.
watching that shot. I mean, just,
Yes,
I mean, we are
filmmaking at
talking
Film Be Great.
formal things, but also there is some. We've discussed the other other
Yeah.
stuff as well about the story,
Mm.
and whatever we kind of read upon the subtext of things and
I
theater
still
drama
think
and
there's a lot of things for me which are like, not
hmm
opened up in
Mhm.
that film. I probably need to watch it again.
I
So
mean,
yes.
the director Tilakan and his work, and there's so much more. Even though I've read like words
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, I haven't delved really so much.
Mm-hmm.
Even though whatever we did end
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But Yadhu, you tell us why
Yeah.
is it in your favorite
Yeah.
list?
So Lijojo Spelsheri has been like making Kino movies in Malayalam from
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amen, I guess. Like all of his movies are like
Mm-hmm.
really unique, and he's like trying to bring this very new wave in Malayalam cinema through his own craft. Like
Mm-hmm.
every like you said, Churuli, and next even this Malay Kotte Valiban, this will be like very unique, I believe, from the what
Mm-hmm.
is and
Hopefully.
all that. The guy, he sees movies, like in a different way. Like he wants to
Mm-hmm.
say stories, but not whatever is said. Like he has his own like style, and he's like trying to like say like don't try to understand movies, just
Mm.
feel them. So Nanpakal Nerathu Mayakkam is basically that. Like we don't have to like logically analyze like what's happening, but
Yeah.
Of
just
course. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so if you see in Nanpakal Nerathu Mayakkam, there is like a lot of the old Tamil movies, black and white Tamil movies playing, and like when I watch those clips separately, I kind of could connect like the context or what the movie is trying to say, and like what is happening in that movie. So
Mm-hmm.
like he becomes this person who is like native to that, and like he says like one dialogue like na in the urkaran illiya, like I'm not from this place, like that. He's asking that performance was
Mm.
very nice, like he's surrounded by everyone and he falls on the ground like
Mm-hmm.
after saying that.
I think that's an interval point, if I'm not wrong, or something like that. I don't remember. Maybe.
I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, like, we need to appreciate Mammootty, like, to pick, he's like a very big star and still he's taking like this risky
Mm-hmm.
subjects. Like, if it,
Yeah.
if it,
Yeah.
either if it's Nanpakal Nerathu Mayakkam or Kaathal the Core
Kadal.
or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like, whatever, like, he kind of is taking a risk at like 70 plus age. Like,
Yeah.
who, like, in which industry do you see a person like this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, and he has his own production company, Mammootty company. So like most of the other
Mm-hmm.
movies are from that, and they have been like churning out some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what like Nanpakal Nerathu Mayakkam. It was like very meditative and one of like felt like most spiritual religious spiritual movie. Like after like on par with Aman for me. Like if you guys haven't seen Aman, like
I
definitely
have.
see.
I have.
Yeah.
I
So
really like that film. Mm.
yep, that's it, I guess, from my side.
Mm-hmm. Your fifth film in the list?
Yeah, Hostel Hudugaru Bekagiddare.
Bekigiddare. Yeah.
HHP for people who can't pronounce the rest of the thing. Yes.
Uh, So this one, it's like a very wacky drama. Like
Mm.
it has like really cool editing stuff, and basically what they did was like, like it's kind of a skit, the 2 hour skit, continuously back to back skits. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
have
Gags. Yeah.
Exactly.
linear.
Practical
Story.
jokes.
So it's if you grew up in hostel or if you had any similar experience, like you'll really enjoy that. That small moments. Like for me, what's fascinating is like how much depth is going to each character. Like the like we had done this research. Adityan had done this research for me, and he was telling me about the character consistency, how they maintained for each character. Like if it's either Echo character or the senior
Mm-hmm.
character, they
Mm-hmm.
until then they are like being in
Mm-hmm.
that world, and like so many, it's like chaotic, but still like they have this control over this until the very end. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just crazy, man. Like there is no other way to explain this. Like wacky, crazy.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Adityan, it was not in your list, but it was high up your
I mean,
thing.
he
So
I,
loved
lo-
it.
I loved Hostel Hudugaru Bekagiddare.
yeah.
By surprise really, because Immersive Cinema Pro asked me to watch it for his interview with the
Okay.
director. So
Yeah.
I watched it just for just in a train journey at that time,
Mhm.
and I was laughing from the first till the last. I was laughing,
Yeah.
because it hit something, well, like personally, because in my 12th standard, I use my friend actually pitched the idea to our school principal to make a short film in our
Mhm.
school campus. So what
Okay.
we so I did I was like, okay, I have camera, I have everything, so let's make it, let's make our own film, let's go. So that's how that premise itself was, I hit my sweet spot. So that connected with me. And the second thing was, I'm at a hostel right now, so that all the characters I'm seeing in the movie are somewhat related with everything. Everything
Yeah.
I saw, every experience, everything is first 15 minutes. The first act was like, the battle royale kind of a feel, game kind of feel, like you get all the like the some Scott Pilgrim versus the World kind of a
Lot of
moment,
Edgar Wright has had
Yeah,
a big impact on whatever people are coming through. I think there's a couple of movies, even one of Sanjeet's
exactly.
favorites this year, Polite Society. Sorry.
Okay.
This is an English movie,
Yeah.
but yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Adityan, continue.
Yeah. So Edgar Wright influence and everything. But Battle Royale, I was like, okay, we are gonna see something so much wacky game kind of a movie, and then everything subverts with after the 15 minutes. They're like, no, this is a concept for a movie. He's going to make. That was pretty cool. That I am that guy who always pitches every idea to this guys.
Yeah, even I loved it, because even I kind of also could have related so much from what the film was trying to say, though, in general. And the energy is just too infectious in general.
I mean,
Yes, exactly.
I didn't relate to it, considering I've never wanted to be a filmmaker, but I do. I really like the energy of the film also, as you guys have said. I mean, it reminded me a lot of One Cut of the Dead, which is this Japanese 1 hour, 30-minute film.
Very famous.
Yeah, which I will not spoil for anyone who's not seen, but please do watch it. But yeah, I mean, I messaged Sanjeet saying the strongest part of the film for me was the one where the film is like, the new film they want to starts like when they actually start making the short film, where the professor is quote unquote dead, and then until the point he wakes up is the part I feel is the strongest. Like, I feel it's like, what you said about Battle Royale, I was thinking it's almost like the Raid. It's coming down from one floor to the other, almost like, you're dragging the person down, and then all the stuff is happening in that. So I was like, that stuff I really liked. I mean, there's some amazing gags littered throughout the film.
I am actually, I don't know Kannadam actually as fluent as Yadhu or the Devi, but I could connect with all the characters, and I could laugh with it, because I am surrounded by characters like that. So that was that I could really relate with it. And that last 20 minutes was pretty surprising. But like, you have too infectious of energy, and suddenly you're halting, and you're contemplating yourself, and you're like, is this gonna happen? And suddenly a miracle happens. That was something. That was something like how art changes you. That was really something. That was really, they say consistent tone, they say everything, but it was something fresh for me. And at the last also, they were that heroine, Divya Spandana coming in between, and they're saying like, everyone is boys, how everyone will watch the movie. That meta references, taking a dig on the
Oh yeah, the final framing thing. Yes, yes.
that was lovely. That was too lovely, and they maintained that metaness through even the ending, though, with Puneeth Rajkumar introducing that this film won't run itself. That was so interesting. And Yadhu bro actually said some references with the Kannada movies, he said, which was really fascinating for me. And he also said, if you know the language, you love it even more. But I am surprised that you love it like me, he said. Because the premise really connected with me. Connected, and surprisingly they did well with the premise. Because there's this another movie too, in Tamil they made, it's Hostel. The movie name is Hostel, but it was too bad. That day itself, I was like, oh, when will they portray something realistic of a hostel comedy? And then the Hostel Hudugaru Bekagiddare comes, I am surprised totally. I am surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, do you
the
were saying
Yeah,
something?
I want to say
Sorry.
something.
Yes.
A very insignificant thing in the middle of all this. Adityan, I don't know Kannada. Just
Whoa,
that
whoa, whoa.
Disclaimer.
I am in Bangalore. I can't even pronounce the name of the movie as beautiful as you did, but I did watch it, and yeah, I also liked it. Hostel Hudugaru, right?
Yeah, actually, but
Good,
too, it's
good.
curious, no? Like, I mean, I'm curious how, I mean, not to bang on that drum, but I would be curious how this plays differently to a female demographic than a male demographic. Because there were times I was like, I'm curious to see how it plays to a female demographic also.
No,
Yes, yes.
it's
Yeah.
basically more than a relatability, more than anything
Mm-hmm.
else. Just as Yadhu used the right word for that.
Mm-hmm.
It is so wacky,
Yeah.
and when
Mm-hmm.
you're just drawn into that
Mm-hmm.
film, into that world, and
Mm-hmm.
so easily,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
is so it's somewhere so effortless. So you laugh. I mean, you're so like maybe these are things that as probably a hostler might have experienced, you might
Mm-hmm.
not have, but still,
Mm-hmm.
you get and you have been through that in
Mm-hmm.
some sense, in one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And there is still a relatability factor, even if I didn't feel like, even if I have not been through all that. So
Mm-hmm.
basically it is the storytelling, I guess, which I was actually planning to tell in my when when my list comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So this there's these very unusual choices actually this year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
mean,
this is one of the best examples of that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it comes to filmmaking, whether it comes to storytelling, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's so surprising
Mm-hmm.
that way.
Yeah.
ದೇವಿ
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳು.
Uh, Kannada. I don't even know how how to tell. I don't know Kannada in Kannada.
Kannada ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
Yeah. Kannada ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು.
You have to learn. You have been so many years here now.
Yeah, true. I don't know why.
That's what the auto
Amrit, I
rickshaws
told
also
you.
say.
Correct. Yadu sounding like one of them.
I can speak like local slang and Bangalore slang. So yeah, like if you know the language, the movie works like some hidden jokes you'll not miss.
Of course,
Mm-hmm.
Three
Mm-hmm.
or with
Yeah.
subtitles you'll not
There
understand.
were
And
a lot of Hindi curses, and I saw the certificate as UA. I was like, that's surprising. Like, I mean, I guess it's because they presume that like curses, as in, it's not just like whatever. It's pretty explicit. Like these are the sort of things that Lavaranjan has made a career out of beeping, essentially, uh, in his movie. That is his job. So yes, I was surprised they like it was UA, and then there were people like the North characters swearing quite a bit, which is funny because
Yeah.
that's probably true. So
I mean, for me, this is exactly how my college life was, because in first year,
Hmm.
almost exactly 10 years back,
Hmm.
I was making a short film with my friends. That's when I began,
Hmm.
like some random stuff, and
Mhm.
it had no sense to whatever we were making at that point.
Hmm.
And I've basically
That's the one you
gone on
refused to
and done
show
the same
us,
thing.
right?
I'll show you. It's still on
Acha,
my
you'll show
YouTube
me.
channel. I
Okay,
never
fine.
hide anything.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, did anyone mention the satire part, like how it trolls the caste and all that, like in the toilet scene in the interval? It
I
was
don't remember so much. Yeah,
highlight of
but
the.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like it starts with a small argument, and then it goes on to like caste, religion, politics, divisive politics,
Yeah. In the
xenophobia,
bathroom,
everything,
right?
and then
Hmm.
yeah, that was tension building at its finest.
And this
Yeah.
everything, all of this in just one night. Imagine.
Mhm.
yeah.
Just bring
Yeah.
it. And this as we discussed earlier, I don't know with which movie. I think with Krishant or someone we were just telling
Mhm.
right now that there's so much of a mix of genres actually.
Mhm.
How about you?
Purusha
Can't
Pretham.
exactly place it into a comedy, or you
Mm.
can't place it even there's a little bit of horror. There's everything.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah. There's that dungeon-like escape they have, where they use night vision camera,
Night vision.
which
Yeah.
is all that is also there.
Actually, the movie, like when they first screened it, people got dizzy and all that, so they started giving headache tablets.
Oh,
Wait, these people
that's
got
good.
dizzy. Really?
Yeah. Like they did not stabilize some shots, like that the director was saying in the roundtable interview. Like
Okay,
Oh,
interesting. I've seen much worse films that do this, like the whole handheld stuff.
and
Some very
RGB,
international
RGB.
directions.
Taken 3.
and
Okay.
the interview
RGB.
was in Kannada, so you guys there is no subtitle, so you guys won't
Ah,
understand it. So
shit.
Hmm.
like what they stabilized the shots, and again from second week, I think they kind of
Okay.
didn't have to give that. So in the trailers, it's given like worst movie, like something like that, and a headache tablet, something. It's mentioned in the subtitle tagline.
Okay. Got it.
It's a context to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Uh,
promotion was too great for I watched the Hindu interview actually. The Hindu, they made an interview with the director, which was I recommend because it has English subtitles. They go through the
Mhm.
breakdown process of what happened.
Hmm.
They made it's like they started out as an indie film actually, and the they didn't have a structure or anything. They didn't really want to make this as their first film, but their situations made it like that was interesting for me. And it was all shot in the pandemic, they said, which was even more fascinating because considering the
Oh.
the scale and everything.
Yeah.
They shot it in a pandemic. That's too surprising for me.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yadhu, any special mentions that you would like to share apart from your
Yeah,
list?
my special mention is Falimy. This came out Malayalam movie this year, so it's like an
Okay.
family. It's like it shows that
Basil
dysfunctional family.
Joseph. Mhm.
It's Falimy, so it's like they are going to like traveling to Kashi together, and so many things happen on the way. It's like most of the Basil Joseph movies are kind of feel good genre, and
Mhm.
this one also falls into there. But the again, like I said in Purusha Pretham, Jagadish, like his role, he plays a very nice role in this. Like
Mhm.
his father who doesn't connect with his children, and like each family member, they were given like very good arcs, and like for a feel good commercial movie, this is like so much writing. I felt like I felt like so not much people knew, and they did not speak about it, so that's why I wanted to bring attention to this.
Mhm.
uh so it's a very good movie, like definitely check it out.
Done. We will move on
To Devi.
now.
Yadu, you can tell us when you want to leave, so we will
I,
create that
I'm
tip.
leaving. Thank you
Okay,
so
you're
much.
leaving. Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah. I was,
So
Thank you for
okay.
joining,
Thank
Yadhu.
you. Thank you
yeah.
for
Thank you.
joining. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you,
yeah.
Aditya.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Yadhu.
Bye. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
bye, bro.
Hey! Cinema theatre ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡ್ರು
Maga, this is the future, Maga. New. What?
Devi, you can continue. Start with your list of your favorite 5, and we'll chime in because at least I've seen a couple of them.
The minute you announced my name, Yadhu left.
He was preparing from the get-go.
So,
But yeah.
Before that all, Happy New Year to everyone. Slightly
yes.
belated, but
Oh yes. Okay. Happy New Year. I forgot I needed to put an introduction in the beginning that this is a new season that we are starting. Okay, but never mind.
Leave it, sir.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Every day is happy new year, man. 366 days. All sun's position, you will get share with everything. Stuff like that. Physics, forgotten physics. Every day is a new year. So no
Good
problem.
thing.
Yes.
okay, I
Thank you,
forgot
Devi.
Adityan
Same to
was
you.
here to tell
Same to
us.
you.
Now I feel I shouldn't have said Happy New Year. Okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
So, comparatively, like compared to this, everyone here in the panel, I think I have missed out of quite a few films this year, especially in Hindi.
Mhm.
From the list I have, I've mostly watched Malayalam films.
Mhm.
So from the small list of films that I have, I'll start off. But I feel that this year was a mixed bag. At least that's what I feel.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like from the films that I have watched.
Mhm.
So
I
because
mean, that mixed might go negative if you watch more Hindi films, because there's less
100%.
good of them. Yeah.
so
Mhm.
like there were some some surprises. Like one of my favorite films this year is Sapta Sagara. So it's something that I never expected, because I'm someone who doesn't like the romance genre, but it is actually one of my favorite films of this year. So
So
that was a huge
disappointing. It's
surprise.
heartbreaking how you and Yadhu both don't like romance genre. It's like
So yeah, so that is again, that film surprised me. So in
yeah.
that sense, it is a surprise. And there were some very big disappointments. Like I was looking forward to Dhoomam a lot from Pavan
I
Kumar's
didn't
Dhoomam.
watch it yet, but still in my
So
watch list.
first day, I went for the first day. Please don't ask me what happened, Rex. So I don't want to remember that. So that much it
Oh shit.
disappointed me thoroughly. So yeah, so in that sense, yeah, so that it is a mixed bag. And as as I was listening to Yadhu's list, it's a very unusual year also, unusual taste, unusual films, like how you have Krishant and Lijojo's Palishiri. I think I somewhere connected. I wanted to tell that in between, but I didn't want to interrupt him. But they are both in that sense, they are very similar, I feel. They have this multi-layered kind of storytelling, and even the techniques they use, even though Lijo's, maybe it will be, you feel like it is more in sync with the storytelling, well, Krishant's
More
is a
cohesive,
little
no?
bit
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
absurd,
It's
or
second film also, no? So I mean, it's like second
yeah,
I
feature film,
get to
which
watch
is
again.
that could also
yeah.
be a reason. But I don't know. Suddenly, I could make a connect when I was listening to you talk about them. So even the use of comedy or dark humor, I feel that they are revolutionaries in their own respect. Like when it comes to filmmaking or new wave cinema, if you see. So similarly,
Interesting.
what I wanted to mention before I start is Kannada industry is actually, it's for me this year, I feel that almost all the films that I watched from Kannada, they were actually very good. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'll start off with Sapta Sagara. Again, a huge surprise for me, because in every sense that movie amazed me. Whether it is
I
the
still haven't watched Side B, so don't know spoilers, huh?
No, I have to give. Now I have to give.
Sanjeet,
No,
take
it's
off
like
your
a part.
headphones.
It is actually. I believe. No, I won't give spoilers. Don't worry. I really hate talking about like
Put it
specific
on.
scenes.
They're
Sanjeet, put it.
on.
Acha, okay.
They're on.
No matter how much I love it, it makes me like,
But
no,
Devi,
every
tell me
person in the
this.
world should see the film
If it
before I
tell
talk
me
about
this,
it.
please. If it works for people who are not fans of the romance genre, does that mean it will not work for
For
the
romance
person
genre.
who is a
I'll
fan
come
of
there.
this?
I'll come there. I'll come there when it comes to me. I'll come there when
Okay.
it comes.
Okay.
I'll
Fine.
say that. I'll say that.
Okay.
So you
Fine.
are taking me into my mathematics class, set theory and Venn diagram, sir. You are asking me to, but it really connected with me in every single level, I would say. Yeah, that's what. Whether it comes to filmmaking, whether it comes to acting, the storytelling, the music. Music was amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Fantastic, yeah. So, like you feel that like everything is falling into place, and you're I just kept crying.
That's
That was
good.
something
That's a
that
good thing. I
Yeah.
feel
Good
crying is a
reaction.
good thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just broke my heart until I feel so good about it. Just so much
That is the thing. That's
yeah,
why
so
romance
much of
genre can be nice sometimes.
yeah, sometimes I would say that sometimes. So, as I said, it's such a surprise, like filmmakers like Hemant Rao, or that's and you can turn something that you feel that you are familiar with into something so deep and so beautiful. So it's still, I'm like literally unable to get over it somehow. It's still on my Spotify playlist. I still keep
Yeah.
playing. I still every other
Yeah.
track. So and I still keep rewinding the scenes. So just in if you ask me in one sentence what it is, it's somewhere how this very poetic, or when poetry meets some kind of realism, you get as beautiful as Sapta. It's everything. So it's I don't know. It's hard to describe it more.
I'm just this year I've become skeptical because of certain love one film has gotten a lot in international centers.
Say
so
the
I'm
names.
like, people know. Past Lives, essentially, which is the one film I'm like, what is in this? I don't get. So I'm like a bit skeptical if anything, because three of us was compared to it, and I don't know if side A and side B are like it. I hope they're not.
I've only seen side A, but what possibly Devi is trying to put is like the kind of milieu it kind of chooses for the characters and the kind of story it is telling. Within that, they kind of find these sudden bursts of flow and this certain feeling that it kind of transpires through, which is what makes it a little poetic, and it kind of flows through to you. That is something which is something really fun, and it's not really like, it's a very surreal kind of feeling, I mean, for the characters, because they are in that trance state of love with each other. And when that kind of feeling translates to you, it kind of takes you in a certain zone.
See, that is what I wanted to tell something. Like it's not like you have seen side A, right? So you know their relationship. So it's so they ease into each other. You don't see, like you don't see how they met, or how they started their relationship. You just see them just in a familiar space. They are really happy together, and they are just in these small tiny sequences, and the way they go house hunting, the way they choose certain rooms, of the way they even talk about sunlight coming into the house. You know that these people have been together for such a long time.
Specificity, no, I think a lot of it.
Yeah. And bringing that with such beauty, it's not, it makes it's not even like you don't feel like, okay, that's where I disagree. It's not like they are in a trance. They're very real. What makes it beautiful is, like, sometimes there's a quote from Kamala Das. It's told that in love we expect the impossible. Every lover will expect the impossible. That's the quote. And he actually goes ahead and does something that makes us feel, okay, why would he do it? Like, it's so senseless. Why would he risk it all? But that is love, and the film actually makes us believe that is how real love is. So I mean, it's a mix of all these elements, and I'm so happy that I watched the film and I could connect to it, and so beautifully. And I am so surprised, Sanjeet, how after seeing side A, how could you not see side B? How
it
could
didn't
you
release.
It didn't release here.
Oh, okay, then
Yeah,
I
don't know. He's
We
excused.
didn't get the short time.
No, even in Delhi, like, film usually, if it's a different language film, it will stay for at least 2 weeks. Sometime, most of the time. I went the second week when I was meeting.
He would have
Dhruv
dragged me also.
Kaathal.
So yes, yeah.
I was planning to drag him with me, and Sapta Sagarda wasn't playing there anymore. So I had no other option. At that time, we went for.
You should blame Mommy for this, Sanjeet.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Worst festival.
Then it is understandable, I feel. Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to come on Prime. Yeah. But it's on Adityan's favorite list as well. Adityan, go ahead.
Yeah. So Sapta Sagarda, that's like Yadhu bro and Devi. I also have pretty much an aversion towards the romance genre from my childhood. I don't know, man.
Podcast.
We are all
immersive, quote unquote,
heartbroken people.
But recently I've been rewatching Premam and some live switch. Some of my friends circle, I've got to hear some stories, and I pick plot lines from them. Sorry guys, this and been rewatching some Shah Rukh Khan classics like Veer Zara, everything. I watched Veer Zara in my childhood, but I didn't really, I like, okay, good movie, that's it. I was like that, but Today when I rewatched Virzara again after 23 years, I'm like, I was crying throughout the second half, and I was like, come on man, get her man. I was, that's so. Arey yaar, what's happening to me?
Adityan is finding hope in his life again.
Yeah, your heart is softening, Harit. Yes.
Slowly.
So that's so. And Virzara was like that. And Sapta Sagarda, first when I actually pretty much had initial excitement over it because Akshit Shetty's project, and so I had an initial excitement for it. And Charan and Hemant Rao made Kavaludari before that, which was also a great movie. And I was pretty excited, but okay, let's see what happens. But when the title track dropped with the synth, I haven't heard since properly
amazing.
made synth music in Indian cinema, Indian mainstream cinema.
With classical Indian music also, right?
Yeah,
what instrument do they use? Veena? Is it Veena? I don't know.
Veena,
what is the
sitar,
Indian instrument that they something? I saw it in the BTS of the song, but I don't know.
Veena or Tambura, I think so.
Yeah.
So they made it. That was really some. It was first song that thrown back to me of out in the time by Weekend. That song in the time and Sapta Sagarda Side A title track. If you listen parallel to parallel, it will be kind of same, except it has the Indian fusion. Out of time. That Weekend song, Weekend song.
Okay.
Similar bits. So that pretty much made like, okay, I'll watch it definitely. I'm still the guy who watches the song. If the songs are good, I'll watch the movie. I am like,
No, that's fine. Most
of them are disappointed this year. Too much disappointment with that kind of a category.
Oh shit!
I don't know. So Sapta Sagarda, I tried to watch it in the theater, but unfortunately, it wasn't screened in my city. So I was waiting for the Prime release, and when I first saw in Prime, at that time only everyone was raving about the film, and first I was floored by the visuals, like how it's so it's so realistic, like you are seeing in a naked eye, but still it's cinematic. That's something subtly cinematic.
Yeah.
I don't see in a lot of Indian, like I see in Balu Mahendra movies, that kind of Balu Mahendra.
No, I was saying the Ashik Kapoor film. I thought it was very similar to
Mayanathi. I haven't watched it yet. Yadhu bro said that it's heartbreaking, so I didn't watch it yet. I have to keep my. I want to.
No, watch it. It's good.
For me, both Mayanathi and Sapta Sagarda are in my way perfect because everything is working. Everything.
Yeah.
The writing, the direction, the acting, the music, the look, the way it is shot, everything is almost perfect in a way.
Exactly. Totally. I mean, I was talking to Rohitendra. He is Nothing But Films admin. So I was talking about the Wangkar films. So he said that Wangkar films, you don't really have to, put the plot. You don't really see a plot there. You see only, it operates on a Zen space. He said, like how Zen stories are like they are driven by the characters and the character choices, and not like they don't really follow classic structure like first act, second act, third act. Just like how do you love Studio Ghibli movies? You should also love this Wangkar movies too.
Vibes, mostly vibes.
Vibes, exactly, vibes.
Or for people who don't like him, perfume ads. That's what I have heard. So
no plot, just vibes. Like that. Sapta Sagarda operates on that kind of a Zen space actually for me. Because it's a story that's we have seen multiple times, a template we have seen multiple times. Some of them got cult status, some of them were drawn into the sea. I'm sorry, I'm using metaphors for the sea. So now this Sapta Sagarda was like first time I saw. I was literally connected with the characters. It's the first shot itself, like they're establishing both their dynamics in the first. When Manu goes fast and she's like slow down. You from that first shot itself, you will understand both of them. Like he's so haste, he's so he's on a hurry, everything, and she's like slow, calm, subtle, everything. So that's how polar opposites, their dichotomy is established. And you know, they say
I mean, he's from the
to,
city, right? He's born in the city, and she's born near
Yes,
the
correct.
sea.
I was
yeah,
about to
yeah,
say
Kind
that.
of,
Sautram.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know that and the sit and you know I love films that integrate nature into their plot and see being in a be I miss the sea a lot in my new place actually. So
I know why
I
Sanjeet is sorry, Aditya. I know why Sanjeet is laughing because I know what he's thinking. Okay, never mind. I know. Sorry. He's only not laughing at you. He's laughing at the thinking that I'll
I'm
say
not
a
laughing.
director's name. You were smiling.
Go for it.
Okay.
so
No.
I
Sorry, Aditya. Sorry to break your flow.
so
Go
yeah.
ahead.
So
Yeah.
the sea, I miss the sea actually so much. The city where I study. So that made me connect with a lot. You know, I like just like Priya. I love the sea so much. I love the sea sounds, everything. I love the sea so much. So that's with the with the conch shell and every inanimate objects have a life in it, breathe life into the movie. That's something you see in Ghibli movies. You see in
Classic
manga
Hollywood also, I
movies.
think. Like I was
Yeah,
thinking,
Yeah.
Casablanca actually does that a lot.
Casablanca.
Like,
Yeah.
uses a lot of inanimate objects and then
Yeah.
puts
So
life into them.
that's how the sound design. So I mean, and prison sequence also. The prison sequences were pretty realistic for its for us. Mostly they tend to be more cinematic. You'll be like, where can I see these prisons? And this is like so. They are also in a their prisons are too realistic in its portrayal and how their reformation occurs. There are two sides of reforms. So that establishment was really unique for me, and just and distances I gotta talk about, because distances is how the more the film was like they're first close to it, and suddenly I actually rewatched it for Yadhu Bro's interview with Advaita Gurumurthy, the director of photography.
The DOP.
So, yeah, so I rewatched it for research purposes. So when I rewatched it, even Advaita sir also said that in she always listens to music in the bus, Priya. But after when Manu says I'm going to prison, she takes away the phone, and you get a silence and cacophonic cacophonic subway, and their sounds alone are unique and separate and more clear voices. That's ducking technique they say in audio design. So you actually suppress all the frequency, all the other frequencies, and you increase the frequency of what you are to hear. So ducking technique they say. So ducking technique is basically used in another sequence where in the end he listens to Priya's tape, that cassette tape.
Yeah.
That's that silence and the distancing feels they are distance, yet they feel close.
Close.
I also actually read this, sonnet 116. They say love alters in its brief times and years, and both there the love is like a lighthouse for the wandering ships. So that's just like how they say both of the Manu and Priya are like the wandering ships. Metaphorically, she's in a prison and he's also in a prison, and literally he's also in a prison. That's something.
I think she's framed also through a window. I think in one or two shots.
For non-romantics, you guys have been quite romantic with the quotes and all you have brought up also. So
It's something
Watch it,
very.
Dhruv. It's really good.
I have watched 20 minutes and I slept off. Not the film's fault, my fault. So like this happens all the
And
time. But yes, I will be watching.
they say I read Graham Norton show in Keanu Reeves interview. Keanu Reeves says to be a lover is to be a fighter. So that's how they both of them fight, because they are like one day we'll see the light of the day. One day we'll see the light of the day. And at first watch, the distancing, I was surprised with the ending, gasped. But second watch, I didn't want to rewatch it actually, but because of Yadhu bro, I had to watch it, and I was crying literally throughout the last. Then what's happening to me?
Great montage though. How they kind of intercut to separate events. I'm talking
Only
side A only. I haven't seen side B.
Side A or
The
Side A.
I'm
I
talking
mean,
the intercutting is just
yeah.
brilliant.
And yeah, that's brilliant. That's totally that intercut with brilliance, so brilliant. And music, gotta say, Charan Raj really impressed me with the synthwave music. Synthwave, I love synthwave so much, and that song alone that took my breath away. I even have my ringtone, everything as Sapta Sagra cello. So that's how impactful.
Even the song where she's auditioning, right? That
Kadalanu Kanu.
yeah.
That was another. And the last one was Kanmare Kade with cherry blossoms. First she sees cherry blossoms, and at the last there is no cherry blossom trees. That contrast with the visually, as I said, nature contrast. That really fascinated me. I mean, you see the beauty, you see the simplest of all the things, and yet you integrate into the film. That's something interesting for me. That's something really. I mean,
I
threw
think you
away
guys have very much sold me on the movie I should be watching tonight then. Last time, we recorded this, I was sold on Churali for some reason. Sanjeet had sold me, so I watched that after our episode.
I mean, I watched Past Lives recently, which also dealt with the distances thing. But I felt that Sapta Sagarda cello or Vizara that dealt with the distances factor more than Past Lives for me.
You still like it. I think I'm very much on the other side.
Adityan and his soul, both of it has transcended to some level along with Sapta Sagar. I thought I was in love with the film.
But it's good only. That's how you get converted into the school of romance.
From what he told about distances.
I always believe this. Whenever a work of art resurfaces your dead, buried human side, I think that's a great piece of art. And Sapta Sagarda cello is is one of that. I mean, it's in my all-time favorites for me. That movie. I mean, it's resurfaced my human side. I became the more I talk about it, the more I became soft.
That's good only. I think that's a very
changed
good
me a lot.
thing. I don't think there's anything bad with it.
That changed me a lot. And with life happening, some circumstances, I am loving it so much. I mean, I am also now. I'm pretty much I am seeing open-minded the romance genre. I'm open-minded to it now.
You just have to select the good ones. Past lives and all you leave out. That's okay.
Yeah, that's the really good difficult part. But still, I'm loving it. I'm loving this side.
Adityan is almost in love.
Yeah, you're next, Devi. Just because I know that.
No, I think in real life also he's almost in love.
He's changing his name right after this from curiouser to romantic.
He even has a Karan Johar film coming up, so yes.
No.
We know the list. My life last month was like Karan Johar films, man. So
no, Devi, what he told about.
Before we shock you with Karan Johar, you can go ahead with your picks.
No, what he told about distances, it just made me it just brought back a few of those images from the film. So that blue thread is also that same way, I think. Just connects them in that sense. So a lot of like how he has told so beautifully, he has explained, like using these simple things, everyday things. So much of expression is brought into the film, and how it connects, how it ties, and even the color blue. How we were talking about red and greens for Purusha Pretham.
Theme, right? It's the theme.
It's so beautifully brought into. Whether you see the costumes, if you see Side B, you'll understand the difference.
When is Side B releasing online?
It was supposed to come on 22nd December on Prime, but I don't know, it didn't come out only.
Oh.
So I'm still waiting. I think it will come out, if not, I think next weekend only, because it's the whole Sakranti Pongal weekend, right?
Okay.
So maybe then.
Everyone's heart gonna break in Pongal. Like a Pongal pot. Oh my God.
Then they'll go watch Captain Miller after that.
I am not ready for this. No.
So that even if you see Side B, you'll understand that the change in people, the emotions over the even that there is so much of use of color. and so
Mhm.
subtly and so beautifully.
Mhm.
That's what, again, coming back to what I told earlier, it's such a, like, maybe in one way, because we are all delving so deep into cinema, we are seeing,
Mhm.
we are analyzing, like how Adityan was telling about
Mhm.
each and every element. We are digging so deep. Sometimes I feel like we are over analyzing, or we are
Do it. Do it. Do the
yeah,
over
but
analysis. We have too many under analysis people, anyways. So yes.
and now there are so many interviews, like directors, DOPs, everyone is, they are coming up and talking about
Mhm.
these kind of little intricate things, and because of that, everyone is trying to inculcate that same, that culture is like a culture, like the next film, what else is going to happen, and we are also looking forward to that. So
Mhm.
I still feel it's such a positive change,
Yeah.
even though
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel that sometimes I overanalyze, or I overthink, I overread, but it's still fascinating. That's one
Yeah,
aspect
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
Yeah.
so fascinating, whether it
Absolutely.
is a big budget
Absolutely.
film, whether it is a, something as small as, another film that I have is Aachar Co. It's
Mhm.
a
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
film, favorite of last, it was the fifth film actually I had written.
Mhm.
So Aachar Co is a very small film, but that
Kannada
also
film.
Kannada
Another
film.
Kannada film.
Another Kannada film. That's what
Mhm.
Kannada films have been,
Yeah.
surprising me constantly this year. We did discuss earlier about Swati Mutne.
Mutina
Mhm.
Malehani.
Swati Malehani.
Mm-hmm.
Aditya, sorry for my bad Kannada, but that was
I
also
don't know Kannada, madam. Sorry.
okay,
Yadhu's
sir.
gone, Devi. It's
But still,
fine.
yeah, Yadhu is gone. That is the important point. Yeah. So, see, in all these films, one thing is common is the details.
Mhm.
Whether
Mm-hmm.
you see Aachar Co, whether you see Swati Muthin, whether you see Sapta Sagara. And I think somewhere all the beauty lies in the details nowadays,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah.
one way we are all looking into it also. So
Mm-hmm.
Aachar Co, I'll just tell, like, it's a night, I think 1960s 70s Bangalore.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it is how this father, there's this typical mentality that boys will all grow up but take the responsibility of the household. The girls will all become housewives, and that is, you are well settled
Yeah.
in that way. So
Mm-hmm.
but it is finally um the situation arises wherein this girl who has not, I think she didn't pass her 10th standard, and somehow, even though she doesn't want to, all the responsibilities do fall upon her, and she does
Mm-hmm.
take up her achar business. So achar and achar is there. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's such a beautiful story, and I watched it primarily because of Kannan Gill. I am a huge fan of this
I was
song.
just going to say, even that's how even I discovered it, because Kanan Gill posted on his Instagram somewhere.
Instagram, yes,
Uh,
yes,
the director Sindhu Srinivas Murthy, she
yeah.
was in this very good show called Better Life Foundation. Have you seen
Yeah,
it?
yeah, correct. Yes, I have seen it. It was on YouTube.
I love
Prem
it.
only
I
shows,
love that show.
yeah.
That's how I know of her. And then I saw her and I was like, oh, this film is there. And I couldn't watch, didn't finish the film. I watched like the first 15, 20 minutes. Again, I was tired. That's why I didn't finish it. But it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so interesting because the style is so specific also. And it's so, and the style only evokes that comedy, that
Yeah, and
comic if,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
references, Wes Anderson references
Yeah,
after
I didn't
Archer
want
and
to say
Co.
Wes
Yeah,
Anderson, but
yeah. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is there, whether it you see the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
scenery, whether
That's
you see,
true.
yeah.
That's true.
So, that was my, I mean, okay, Kannan Gill, it's a name associated, and he's right. He's one of the writers. So I thought, okay, let me just give it a.
Mm-hmm.
I was like so pleasantly surprised, because there are two ways to bring all, whether it is gender roles or politics, or
Yeah, yeah.
such things, some deeper social issues into a film, and this is such a beautiful way to explore all
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
whether it is patriarchy or whether it is gender roles, or whether,
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm again going to another film that is in my list, which is Jigarthanda DoubleX.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The
Which is
same,
in,
the same way the
yeah.
politics is explored in such a different manner, but that is
Mm-hmm.
also a
Mm-hmm.
deeply political and deeply, immersive kind of a
Yeah,
cinema.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
and so Achar and Co was very surprising in that sense, and even The small there's a brother sister relationship. Maybe Adityan would have seen. He has seen the film. Probably you would know.
No, Aachar Co. I haven't watched it. I
You
haven't watched
haven't
it.
watched. Okay, okay. There's a beautiful equation between this brother and sister, and I just went back just to see those scenes once again. So if you're watching the film, you should you know probably go back and watch it once more or for just those
100%.
That is Aachar Co. And Jigarthanda is another film. Absolutely love
Which
it.
is also
Double X.
on Adityan's and my list as well, because
Okay,
loved
so
it.
I'll have
Yeah.
competition
But go
for
ahead, go
this
ahead.
one.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
So it comes with this huge expectation. Like first of all, it's a Karthik Subraj film, so there's this so much of hype revolving around that, and then the name itself. Then finally the tag of spiritual success. What is the tag? What is
To
that?
Jigarthanda, which is
Jigarthanda. So lot of talk around it before it got released itself, and I was very I associate Raghavendra Lawrence with a certain kind of films. I have seen some of his films, so I was like, okay. I was like, he is playing a main role. So how is it
character.
going to be? How? But since it is Karthik Subbarajan, he brings out the best. I believe he brings out the best in his actors. So if you because one prime example is S.J. Surya from
S.J.
Iravi.
Surya.
So
Yeah.
so that was the reason for me to go and watch the film, and my God, was I surprised! I was so like more than S.J. Surya. I was watching him, Raghavendra Lawrence. He was such an amazing performance, and to finally bring and it truly is the spiritual successor. There's nothing. This is so deeply political. This is so in that sense so emotional also. Towards the end, as since you have seen, you would know. So it was so heartfelt. It was it was like Iravi in that sense. If you look at the climax, if you look at certain aspects of the film, but to discover a political side to such an openly political side to Karthik Subbaraj was actually a true surprise. Because you usually associate Paranjit or even to a certain extent Mari Selvaraj with political films, even Vetrimaran. But to see his side, to see Karthik Subbaraj open up like this was fascinating in that sense. So Jigarthanda is the third film on my list. So you guys want to talk about it?
So Jigarthanda DoubleX was something that a great tribute to both Inglourious Basterds and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because just like how Inglourious Basterds they use film as a tool to infiltrate and destroy the enemies like that. So just like that, like that, he just goes in. S.J. Surya goes disguising as a filmmaker and infiltrates the enemy base, and he tries to kill. But surprising, just like it doesn't take the Inglourious Basterds route, but still it takes something self discovery of you self discover yourself through art, and throughout the film it's a great tribute to cinema as the art form. That's a heartfelt tribute. Just like not like gimmicky tribute like some films used to do. So it introduces westerns genre, westerns love for westerns that basically Tamil people had at that time for the Clint Eastwood movies, and for the the political, that socio-political and cinema scenario of that, combining with it, and everything. If you are a Tamil cinema, just like a Om Shanti Om, for Hindi cinema fans, they pick the Easter eggs like that. So just like that for us, it was. For Tamil cinema aficionados, it was picking up Easter eggs at every side, if every watches, and you don't really see how it ends. You don't really predict how it goes. that's so different the structure of the story was. When you think it's a cat and mouse departed style thriller, no, it's not. When you think it's a adventure, adventure western, spaghetti western adventure set in a spaghetti western, curry western adventure set in a forest, in a Tamil Nadu forest, no, it's not. And then it goes into like it just subverts your expectations every time. That's something a brilliant piece of art does.
So
And
I think
Jigarthanda
no, sorry, what you were saying, I think links good and well into what Devi was also saying about how a lot of the films that you and all of us sort of like have this ability to shape shift very easily into
exactly
different
genre fluidity.
genres, films,
exactly
and whatever.
exactly genre fluidity and surprising because I crave for adventure, old school adventures a lot, and Jigarthanda DoubleX satisfied that adventure fan in me, and I got to rewatch some Dollars trilogy and everything Western movies, and then only I got to and I got to realize that Sergio Leone movies connected with Tamil Nadu so much not because of the dialogues or something, but there was Sergio Leone itself has one time said that I make silent movies just with a little bit of dialogues. That's it, he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
like,
basically, they're
okay,
silent
got it.
movies. Silent movies. The films, every
Yeah.
film was. So that's a and we basically we in immersive cinema drawn some parallels to the Dollars trilogy and with the film with Jigarthanda DoubleX and how it acts as a tribute. So we have basically we made a reel on that. So you can all check it out. So
we will link it in our description.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So that's that because after having watched it, I could see the similarities with the films, and that's something no that made me realize that Karthik Subraj isn't just just not placing references for the sake of references. He places he knows where to place the reference, where to cue the
creating his own work from his references. You mentioned Tarantino, I think, which is a good, great
exactly.
reference.
I mean, he's a huge fan, like self-professed.
A
So
huge fan of Tarantino.
those influences are there in most of his films, except maybe Ravi, I don't know. But
Ravi was like his Jackie Brown. Ravi was like his Jackie Brown.
You can say that actually. Yeah.
So that's because I watched it in a first day for sure. There wasn't a really great crowd. I enjoyed it, and second, and after 1 week, because of the responses, many of them watched it. Many of the packed audiences, which is surprising for a film like this. And it's not a festival film. It's released in a Diwali time, not a festival film, and it really did good numbers, and which was something vision has some place here in the cinema.
His first cinema release since Petta. I mean, both
exactly.
his films,
Both his
films came out on online.
And his interviews also were surprising to me. Like he was saying about how his knowledge about Elam history shaped this film. That really even more added a
which is also something I wanted to talk about. But go ahead, finish. Then I'll speak. Yeah.
That really added something fascinating, something interesting, even more to the film itself. So for people will Tamil literary students or everyone will watch the film and analyze it even more and publish papers or something in the near future. So that's so great piece of work this was.
Yeah, there is one incident that he mentioned where he saw an elephant, and in an interview, did you see it, Adityan? Did you see Sanjeet?
I did. Yeah. And that's Go ahead.
And then he chose to actually,
add that
place it,
bit.
and But before that, what I wanted to tell in connection to what Adityan said is it's basically more than anything that film becomes, how it it takes a deeper look into how we consume art, and how even art or even film is being made, whether it is the basis of stars or whether it is for entertainment or some things that go beyond that. Even that references to the that Rajinikanth references about so that all such these are all revolutions in that sense.
Mhm.
And it's something that cinema, something a filmmaker or something an art does, and how important that filmmaker is. That guy holding the camera is, so someone who's directing, someone who's making is someone so important, and he has to have a vision, and he has to be so close to the society. He has to be so aware. There's so much of responsibilities resting in him. Somewhere I felt that because you are holding a tool, which is one of the most powerful tools.
Yeah.
And that's such a beautiful way to showcase that, even. And
Yeah.
using Tamil history, as Adityan said. Yeah. Beautiful.
I wish this film was shot in some film role or something. I wish this film, and
that
they
will
could have
increase the budget twice if they were
and
doing that.
exactly. When
Especially how Tamil films are
train,
shot,
no?
they shoot way too much than most Hindi films actually.
They can put
Tamil
the
and Telugu films.
filter. Don't films do that nowadays?
But then this is a specific look, I think.
Sure.
Maybe
Okay.
if they're going to vintage, maybe then it will change the whole language of the film also.
Got it.
And
That's what I
as
feel.
Devi pointed out, holding the camera, I loved the way how the metaness was there throughout the film, like how he takes how SSE Side takes the narrative. Like, I'll take the second half from here after the interval card finishes. Like, that's something really cool way of using metaness.
Yeah.
I feel that, and I wish a Blu-ray feature comes with Blu-ray collections are not even coming in Tamil cinema, so this culture should
ended only now. Yeah, but if it comes, it'll be great, of course. What
shall-
Blu-ray?
if it's-
Just say Criterion Collection, simple.
Yeah, you should.
Criterion.
They should do that.
Yeah.
They should do that.
Anyways, there's very little Indian cinema they have. Apart from
of course.
Satyajit Ray, I don't think they have any.
Ray is the more famous.
Ghatak is the other
yeah.
one, I think.
Yeah.
Making features, I mean, the film's making features, everything put into, I mean, making features are available in on online, but still one place, one specific
This is a
thing you
business
have.
idea, Adityan. This is a business idea. You should pursue it. You should make it happen.
Yes, definitely. Cool. Okay. Next.
Sanjeet,
think for me,
you go ahead. It's your
Sanjeet,
favorite. Also.
The best thing the film actually does, and which so I've been a huge Karthik Subbaraj fan since like 2015, 2016, I think. 16 is when Arrival came in. That's how I discovered him. And then I slowly went into watching his filmography, and I've really liked my favorite thing about his films are the setup. They take their own time to set it up, because they're not really pointing into which direction they are going in the beginning. And in the last few films, that became a little prominent, like Mercury and Jagamet Tandiram, which both the films which I don't really enjoy or like that much. The worst part being about those films were the setups, because I didn't really believe into those characters or those worlds specifically. Mercury still I would excuse, because it's still experimental in its genre, because it's a silent film. But Jagamet Tandiram, I was really disappointed by how they kind of set it up. Mahan, I really like the eccentric nature of it, and it's a little abstract in many things it does for the characters, and so it still works. But here, again, he goes back. It felt like he's going back to his roots. He really wrote down things which would make sense for the characters, and then the setup really takes its own time to work into those characters and situations and everything else. That for me works really well. And the second thing that it does really well is, again, I'm citing Jagamet Tandiram, because I really didn't like that film. Although I really like how it was directed. There are bits in that. I mean, we've done an episode on it, like when we began this podcast. So in which we also spoke about the stuff that we liked and didn't like. But in that, the film actively pursues activism, social activism. And Subbaraj's interviews, he was like, he wants to talk about something which is close to society, which kind of talks about, people
Real life
and
issues.
everything. Real life issues and people also, and people associated with everything. And at that point in time, I was really repelled by the fact that you don't need to use that as a crutch for your film. Because sometimes films really abandon the narrative for activism, which for me is not cinema.
Yes, we have seen an example, recently.
Many a times.
Yeah.
But here he's integrating that into story, and the story really works. Like the story is about those people. It is not about activism, but when you tell the story, activism comes through naturally. That for
Natural.
me
Oh,
is a bigger win. That is why I love those films. Apart from whatever Adityan and Devi have spoken
Devi.
about the film, it does everything. Meta-ness. It
Hmm.
is about cinema. It is about people. It is about marginalized communities. It is about everything. It is about politics and the genre fluidity, how it goes from drama to comedy and certain spaces, a gangster film, a thriller, and then again melodrama of sorts, and the redemption and all that. So I think it's a brilliantly well made film. I would say probably a little better than Jigarthanda, I would say, but still Ravi is my favorite. But yeah,
Okay.
Devi, you can go ahead with your next pick.
So I'll take up something from what you said, because my next film is also
Uh-huh.
based on a real life incident,
Yeah.
because I feel if you
Animal.
tell to no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, please, no, no, not again.
Sorry, I had to.
So should we get into that discussion, Dhruv?
No. Sorry, I had to because you said real life incident. I was like, I can't not say the
Uh,
punchline here. So, yeah.
Uh, yeah. So if you tell something with such sincerity, think
mhm,
all these things about whether it doesn't matter, like
Hmm.
because you're not telling it for the activism, as you said. It's not just to portray
mhm.
something, or not just to push in a message, but you're just telling a story. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
shooting a story. You're just like documenting something.
Mhm.
It becomes like a documentary, but a
Hmm.
film.
Yeah.
Even 2018, which is my next film, is like that. It is based on a real life incident, and as a Malayali, it's something that I can. It made it into a doubly emotional watch for me.
Hmm.
It is
Mhm,
based on the
mhm,
2018. It is based on the Kerala floods.
Hmm.
mhm.
As Jigarthanda did, it has a lot of goosebump moments.
Hmm.
So it's because it is told with such sincerity, it is told with such, I would say, awareness.
Hmm.
You know what you are talking about. You know the history. You know what happened. You know things. You have a clear perspective. You have a clarity on it.
Hmm.
And it is not based on any kind of political agenda. And you are just telling the story.
Hmm.
So that
This
Mhm.
is
makes it
India's official submission, right?
entry. Yeah,
To
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
to
it
the
didn't
But
Oscars.
the
make
shortlist isn't out
It
yet,
didn't
right?
make
it.
no,
For
no, it didn't
Tamil,
make it. I
Right,
don't
it
think it
didn't
didn't
made
make
make
it.
it.
it. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
They,
but
Shit. Why do you think? Why do you expect them to select Indian movies?
I mean, recently there was a clip in Oscar official channel. The director has spoken about it.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Scenes at the academy. Scenes
Ah,
at the academy. Today only.
sure. Yeah. So
Check it out.
Mhm.
I mean the academy is whatever they are. Like they are like their whole thing is a bit gone kissed, which we discuss every year. So that's not a new thing. We will repeat the same line of dialogue in February or March when we
Yeah.
convene for our Oscars discussion. So they are useless, in
Yeah.
short. So
It's
yes,
not
Devi, go ahead.
useful.
so that was I've lost my what
2018
I was
Shit.
mentioning
sincerity.
somewhere. Yeah. So
Documenting a story.
Yeah.
thank you, guys. So somewhere it's such a it has been recon that exact you feel that the exact event has been reconstructed in
Hmm.
such a beautiful manner. You're just watching a documentary. Like
Hmm.
this is what is happening right in
Hmm.
front of our eyes. So I absolutely why is Adityan smiling like that? He didn't like 2018.
No, I liked it. I liked it. I liked it.
Okay. So I was it was so much about, and it is a truly cinematic experience more than
Hmm.
anything. It is
Yeah.
about survival, it is about heroism, it's about a lot of things.
Hmm.
But I am someone who is not usually, who doesn't go into the budget of the film.
Hmm.
This was about 20 to 30 crores only. But seeing the VFX, seeing how
Hmm.
they have created these sets, it's amazing. And it's just to
Hmm.
watch it on a big screen, and just to know that it is
Exactly.
on done on this budget. When you have something like Adi Purusha, when you have
Yeah, well,
Paris
Indian
or something. They don't even chroma key properly, and you got a film 20 to 30 crores and a disaster film. Disaster film is that just no one really makes it convincingly, and
correct.
they made it convincingly, which is something truly commendable job from the
Yeah,
creators.
I was so proud actually. The VFX team, they are from my hometown. So I just went back to see who did it because I was so surprised. I never expected it to be this good. No, so I was so proud. I was so happy. And so it was, and to see it, being the official nomination for Oscar from India, that was also, in fact, very proud. I felt it's very rare that I would feel something like this. Yeah, but feel so proud. Oh, this is going up for this because uh, for many reasons like that. That movie is very very close to my heart, and
yeah.
as I said, lot of goosebump moments. And sheerly for the technical part of it also.
Yeah.
Someone who usually gets into the narration, storytelling, but this, and as he said, as Adityan said, a disaster movie, you normally go into the technical aspects of it.
Of course. Yeah.
You are more drawn to the visuals. You feel because of a few things. You feel, and you are looking up for for all these grand, huge, big moments. So,
Yeah.
like how you see a Ponniyin Selvan in a different sense, how you see a Ponniyin. You
Spectacle movie,
expect that,
event movie, or whatever you want to call it in one sense.
correct, exactly.
Yeah.
And at the same time, through all those small characters, you could relate how he
Yes.
was telling about Hostel Hudugaru. So you could relate to these, even to the hero. He's not a hero. He's a very ordinary man. Have you all seen 2018?
Sanjeet has and Adityan has. I
have.
haven't, but you can spoil it. It's okay.
No,
There's nothing to spoil, I say.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, correct. But it's
You
just like
experience
how.
it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a kind of an experience, and how he's so ordinary, and still how he's so heroic in that sense. So maybe I'm gushing about it too much, but and I am someone who doesn't like Tovino a lot, but I absolutely loved him in this. Oh, Aditya.
Both Adityan and Sanjeet gave looks of
Oh, yeah. I know.
questioning
So
your
sorry.
credibility.
I loved him in
No.
Maya Nadi, by the way. It's one performance of his that I still
I'll
feel.
watch it, man. I'll watch it.
So after that, I think this would be his, I feel it would be one of his best. Yeah, that is about 2018.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Did you rewatch it when it came out online?
No, I watched it in the theaters.
I would want to know, like, what do you think when you watch it online on a smaller screen?
Smaller screen, how it feels, right? Yeah. Why
Yeah,
do you
back
have
to
it?
that.
No, because see, the thing is that the event isn't closer to me. Like, I can't relate to
Of
things,
course.
so that is out of the question now. Now, when I'm watching the film as is, and I've been watching Malayalam films for around 10 years, around about 10 years now, and I've seen their cinema. Okay, so there is that certain niceness that you kind of observe. Like, my first film that I watched was um Nivin Pauly film 1983 or 83. 1983 was it?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And there was a certain niceness about things. Do you get what I'm saying? Which is very typical of a lot of Malayalam films. Like, there is this uh, okay, but this is again my opinion. So I couldn't really get into the flow of things to enjoy. Uh, but again, maybe that's why I'm saying maybe it didn't work because I
Horrible
was watching on a
pun
small
on
screen.
my mind, which
I
I'm
know
not saying.
I shouldn't have said. I realized it a second later.
Yeah.
But it's not like I didn't like it, but I just couldn't get into the whole proceedings. Like, I feel a film like Virus did much better for that aspect of connecting things and uh you know uh characters showing sort of humanity and things like those themes. I mean, I know the tone here is a little different also. uh the budget here is also a little different, so I mean, I'm seeing a lot of different things. It's incomparable, but I would want to know if someone who's watched it on a big screen and then watching it on a small, because there is there is a certain element which I got from it was it kind of encapsulates you in a certain a certain space when you're watching, because it is about floods and you see them in the sea and all those things.
Yeah,
So
oh, sorry. No,
I'm saying that kind of atmosphere can be recreated in the cinema because you're in a closed space.
Correct.
But I don't know, it didn't happen with me on laptop, so I'm a little apprehensive. But I don't mind rewatching to change my opinion, though.
Yeah, but it is a theatrical watch. It truly is
Yeah,
a theatrical watch. And since you said Virus is also a very good film in that sense. But it was about Nipah outbreak, right?
Correct.
How that is an entirely different space from Kerala.
100%. Yeah.
So
I'm just saying
obviously there is a
thematically.
difference in tone or thematic.
Yeah.
All such things were. So I am still not trying to change your view or opinion. Just that I
No,
still
that's
feel
okay.
in storytelling perspective or in making these two they both fit their own fit their own spaces. Like Virus can't be told on a scale like 2080.
No, of course not. I'm not comparing the scale at all. I'm just saying there are some elements. Again, comparing isn't the right form of looking at a certain film.
This is much more cinematic. This is much more about heroism. This is much
Correct.
more about
It's
valor.
a little more epic.
Yeah, it is about
Yes.
you
Correct.
are actually paying ode to people who who were finally neglected when everything ended, but who
That's
finally
true.
were on the ground, who were actually doing things. So so I think it was meant to be that that.
I mean, the tagline is "Everybody is a hero."
Everybody
right?
is a hero. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, no, I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I just didn't get into the whole thing.
Yeah.
Click with it. That's the
too much of Roland Emmerich made it, I think, sir.
Please don't mention it. Roland Emmerich.
No 2012
Virus,
here.
there's much more of, I think, it's much more personalized in that sense. Virus.
Of course.
No, I think Adityan mentioned 20. What Roland Emmerich, who's like the
No,
Disaster.
I was
Disaster master.
but he doesn't care about music at all.
I mean, now first he cared about it, and now he's like, they are like, moon, go to the moon and like, moonfall. Like,
I watched that.
What?
How do you
guys
watch
even watched
exactly.
it? Wow.
No, not everything. Please, Dhruv.
I mean, it's too absurd of a no, please. Being a
Absurd
physics student, I was
absurd.
being a physics student, I was like, what the hell is going on here?
We've had too many physics students on our podcast.
But that you would even have questions with Interstellar, Aditya.
I mean, Interstellar was pretty much accurate. I mean, some of the aspects.
The love transcends space and time?
No, not the thing, but most of them they got the right. I mean,
of course, that he well only Kip Thorne was with him, I think, right? The
Dhruv has gone places now.
Moonfall was like total
2018 Virus and Moonfall is Interstellar.
Should come back
Great
to
comparisons.
Earth. Come back to Earth. Come back to Earth. Yes, Devi, your last pick, is it? Or is it second last pick? I'm not sure.
No, last pick.
Last one is Rekha.
So,
since a lot of movies did overlap with all of our lists, I thought because it was not in any list. So it is from Jitin Isaac Thomas, and he has previously directed Attention Please. I think last time we talked about it in this podcast itself. I think Attention Please. So Attention Please, and there is one shot in the movie, in that anthology movie, Freedom Fight. So both were amazing. So that is why I chose to watch Rekha. But what amazed me here is the performance of the actress. So it starts off as this very simple love story, but it turns into something entirely different, very unexpected and very surprising. And as I said earlier, most of these films, it takes a very unusual turn. like probably like watching Kaathal, you sense that something is some Kaathal the core. The sense you
Mhm.
can you have that sense. Okay, there's something amiss from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning itself, and it's so ingrained in that visual narration. Right? Kaathal, you don't have a lot of dialogues or anything.
Yeah, a lot of silences.
Yeah, a lot of
Mhm.
silences, and it's
We to
beautifully
couldn't
built up.
understand only, right? Considering our
Oh, you
subtitles
didn't
were
have
wrong.
subtitles.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, then you will have
Mm.
even more silences. But
Yeah. Which
it's
is
just
fine. I don't
different.
mind silences. It's just the idea of subtitles being flashed in front of you. It's like a teasing you to read and then like taking it away. I'm like,
And this is
either
PVR,
don't. That's
being PVR.
PVR's magic. So yes. Anyways, go ahead.
So why I compared it to Kadal is somewhere in that when you are dealing with a topic like that, your subject like that, you would
Mm,
expect like some kind of rage or some kind of you know violence
Mm.
happening. But in fact, it is in a movie like Rekha where a woman's revenge or
mm,
rage is explored in such a beautiful way,
mm,
and that too
Mm-hmm.
in such a violent manner. So
mm,
and it was so unexpected in that
mm,
sense. So and that too again the visual narration, how I was telling about Kadal in a very very different way.
mm,
Rekha also narrates beautifully. Visually, it narrates the story beautifully, and
mhm.
we get into the uh, get into her. We totally get into her world after a while.
Sure.
It's
Mm,
just her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's aptly named Rekha because you just see her
mm,
and you see her actions. You just see everything through her eyes,
sure.
and she's amazing. The acting
Mm-hmm.
is
Sure.
amazing, and
Okay.
I am actually waiting for his next movie because this man, as Krishant and Lijo, this is some again very unusual filmmaker with unusual choices,
Mhm,
quite experimental.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
And I felt I felt it was very intense. I have heard mixed opinions about
mhm,
Rekha, especially with the second half, how it could have, been a little bit more. There could have been more depth to get. There could have been more intensity. But I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely loved it.
okay.
And with attention, if you compare it with Attention Please, I still love Attention Please the most.
Mhm,
But Rekha is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, it's a very
mm,
very good film. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say this also with special mention. I wanted to mention a film, Thankam. Have any of you seen it?
Thankam, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. I love the movie. Again,
Shahid Farad. That's the director's name. I could be getting it wrong.
it is Shyam Pushkaran is the writer.
He's
Uh,
the right, and yeah, even Dilesh Potan and Fahad Fazil are
Dilesh
producers on
Potan
this
and
film.
Fahad
Yeah, yeah,
Fazil production. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, Shahid, I feel, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is also based on actually based on a newspaper
Real.
article. It's a real
Yeah.
incident, but
Mhm.
there are certain very heartfelt or touching scenes and moments involved in that. I will not spoil that.
Mhm.
Spoil the. But I would want you to watch that movie and just
mhm,
let
Yeah.
me personally just let me know how you felt because I really loved it.
Mhm.
When
I
you
mean,
talk
it
about
takes a false. No, I won't say anything, but it just takes some narrative to peel, layers for
sure.
characters and relationships and everything just that way.
mm,
So interesting use
Genre.
of
Mhm.
yeah,
this genre.
I
Okay,
want
okay.
I just want to tell one more thing, just
Yes.
that how I am someone who adores Shyam Pushkaran. I love
Mhm,
his
Mhm.
writing. I absolutely love it. So I expected Tangam to get a little bit more of
mm,
attention,
It
but it didn't.
flopped really bad, right? That's what I
Yeah,
know. I mean, box office wise,
yes,
but not
yes, yes.
critically, of course.
So, even critically, I haven't read a lot about it, or I haven't
Mm-hmm.
I did
mm,
see some interviews which are very normal, which are usual. Now it has become the usual thing, right? Interviews where the entire team comes in, talks, and even some
There is some roundtable video. I
round
think I
tables,
did watch
all
it.
these
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Other
mhm,
than that, I haven't heard a lot about Tangam, but I want to know your opinion. If someone
Mm-hmm.
has written something like Joji or Kumbalangi or even
Yeah.
Mayanathi. I think Mayanadi Shyam Pushkar?
I think so, yes. But they had a co-writer. He had a
Yeah,
co-writer with
co-writing,
someone, I don't remember
Yeah,
who, but
yeah. Probably
Mhm.
it is Dilesh Nair because usually they collaborate.
Okay. Okay.
Even Tondi Mudalam, and then you come to something like Thankam.
Correct.
Especially right after Joji. So it was a surprise, and Vineet Srinivasan, his character was also so appealing in that sense. And
Very
how
interestingly, also very subverted casting choice. Like Vineet Srinivasan is known for a certain kind of cinema, and then you put him in a certain
he
kind of
was
film.
not the first choice. I think Fahad was the
Oh,
first choice. Yeah,
who?
Fahad was the first choice.
Okay.
And then later on, there was some date issues or something, and then I think it somewhere felt tailor-made for Vineet Srinivasan, that role.
Correct. That's what I
And
felt too.
yeah, and how something that Adityan told early on about nature and space is something I also feel, like how the city, it just becomes hip. It is revolves around Trishur, and it revolves around gold and jewelry. So, and about the sanctity, I actually have written a post on it also. What the sanctity of everything about finally about life, and it's so in that sense so philosophical also. I absolutely love the movie. And I wish it got more attention. Then
It will now, hopefully, if people
hopefully.
listen to our podcast.
I also liked this movie. And not to confuse this with Kadal. I think Kathal. Kathal is the right
The
pronunciation.
Sanya
The
Malhotra.
Sanya
Sanya
Malhotra.
Malhotra. It was an interesting watch. Yeah, I didn't expect it. I mean, when I least expected it, you get something like this. I
Yeah,
found
you
it.
should. That's why you should also try Rocky or Rani. Maybe.
No. So like
Yeah.
that was a I guess, as I said, interesting watch, a very easy watch, but still I absolutely love how again, I'm sorry I'm repeating it again and again. It's so
No.
unusual. The same things can be told in such different ways. All
Yeah.
films, they are dealing with such deep political issues, like how Aachar and Co political and social issues. So Aachar and Co, like similarly, how that handle patriarchy or gender roles. So Kathal also handles it so beautifully in such a very, very different manner, but that works. But I saw a recent post on Instagram where someone had written that my mother understood me more, or my mother understood what I was telling all these years when she saw Kadal the Core. So I will not allow you to be another Matthew, is what she told me. So without saying much, without as Sanjeet told earlier, without pushing the message too much, without pushing in activism, without pushing in this and that, you can make that narrative so appealing and interesting, and in fact influence people in such a beautiful manner. And each film in its own way has done that. Whether it's such strength that Jigarthanda DoubleX does, or something like Aachar Co, or probably Kaathal would do. Beautiful. Viewing that was actually the best part about 2020.
ಕತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕನಸು ಬಿತ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಾ. ಊರ ಹತ್ರ ಸಮುದ್ರ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕ ಯಾರು ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರೂ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮನು. ಇಡೀ ಬೀಚ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀ ನಾನು ನೀನು. ಆ ಅಲೆಗಳ ಸದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಮನು.
Okay. Adityan, so we've already spoken about Jigarthanda DoubleX and Sapta Sagara Dachelo from your list. Do you want to go with your other picks?
So Adityan, I'm sorry, I have to leave because I'm traveling tomorrow.
No worries.
Okay, fine, Devi. Thank you.
I'm not leaving like Yadhu, okay? Just when my name was announced, he just left because I didn't know Kannada. I'm not doing that.
All right, no problem.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Bye,
Thank you so
sister.
much.
Bye, sister. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay,
Bubuli
so
Adityan. No
okay,
transition. Straight up.
okay, so just I'll my pick. I think I've spoken about Jigarthanda DoubleX, SSE,
And
and another pick is Chittha.
Chitta.
Chittha is
Yes.
basically Chittha really surprised me with its premise, like how sensitive,
Hmm.
how if you are dealing with something like the premise like child abuse, and you don't really make it provocative, like how people do cinema in mainstream cinema.
How
You know,
Bollywood
Hmm.
like
does, I think.
yeah.
Recently also it
So
did
women.
For me, the
some
good part was
nonsense.
I didn't know what the film was really about, honestly. I just saw
Yeah,
that
Okay.
poster
I
and I was
also saw
like,
the poster. Women security and women safety is pretty much a prevalent theme in Tamil mainstream cinema as of today.
Mm-hmm.
Even
mm-hmm.
mainstream stars have taken it, but they
Mm-hmm.
were like more performative and not something like they don't really
Not
operate in a
authentic or sincere, right?
not so authentic as it is. It's really performative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Chitta surprised me with this, they establish the bonding so organically, and you really care about the stakes and how it subverts a lot of. First, you think like this, and they also put how men are put into, something like men, generalizing
Falsely
stereotypical
accused
mindset, and
also at times. Yeah.
how they are guilt ridden, and that
Mm-hmm.
guilt
Mm-hmm.
is mainstream Tamil cinema. It's been a long time since the mainstream Tamil cinema has taken guilt of men and
Mm-hmm.
explored the psyche of them. This really was really a fresh exploration of it. And speaking of that abusive side, the child abuse side also, they didn't make it provocative or more triggering with the visuals. They implied the violence and more on the victim side, victim's justice. How you should be with the victim, how being an ally itself is like is a victory for all the men.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be the
Mm-hmm.
same. It just questions
No.
the savior tropes,
Mm-hmm.
savior say male complex, savior
Mm-hmm.
complex of men. That's something you don't really get in a lot of cinema, and how it operates in a thriller, emotional thriller zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's something and this isn't preachy enough. It's not on the face. It's not
Mm-hmm.
preachy enough. It's organically it tells what it has to say.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking with I watched the director's interview after. I was frozen throughout the runtime in the seats, and I cried a lot, and I came back with a
Mm-hmm.
shock. Actually, I couldn't really
Mm-hmm.
sleep at that night. The night I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
sleep, I was really watching those interviews of the director,
Mm-hmm.
and for 2 days I couldn't write about the movie itself. Too, it took me a lot of time to write about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's also good to see how Siddharth really takes up some unconventional choices now. He has his production
But he
company.
also did Takkar like 3 months
Yeah,
before this.
that was actually long delayed. It had to be released some
Yeah,
time
yeah.
ago. If that
I
released
know, I
at
know.
that time, it would have been hit. But surprisingly, okay, that we shouldn't talk.
Mm.
This movie, he acts. He's a hero who's in he doesn't do the typical jobs. He has a job of a sanitation worker. That really stuck with
Mm.
me because a hero who's like some neighbors we see in our neighborhoods, someone close
Mm.
to us, and the
Mm.
camera was also like you're not a spectator, you are really part of their life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how interesting the film was. And I listened to recently his interviews and the other bananas podcast episode on Sita with the
Mm-hmm.
Foxo Act expert. She said that how it's accurate with this court portrayal on. It's not like you get those cinematic court, and you get a real court where the video trials happen, and the trials are more with the psychologist's help. Like everything is too realistic for a mainstream. The
Mm-hmm.
last time I saw a movie like this was then the Danish movie, the Hunt, the Hunt Danish movie.
What
Yeah,
about
with
Kadesi Vivasai?
Mads. Uh,
You
Yeah,
didn't
Kadesi
think
was a
they were
yeah,
even that
I
film had
mean,
pretty
yeah,
good
that film had a court. Yeah, the
courtroom?
court.
Yeah.
I'm talking about child abuse subjects. The
The
Mm-hmm.
abuse.
Hunt
Okay.
is, yeah, Mads Mikkelsen one, right? With
Mad because
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that one
directed
that
by
one that
Thomas Winterberg. maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one.
Winterberg.
That's the closest I could say to this film. That's how close the film was. And Mahanadi by Kamal Hassan. Kamal
Kamal
Hassan's
Hassan.
right. Kamal Hassan's Mahanadi. But it's like how a guilt-ridden man psyche delves into the guilt-ridden psyche, and how a family really shatters because of an abuse. So
Sure.
that's something really good for him. And really did a great numbers. So that's something good. That's something I see it as healthy sign.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. This type of movie doing well is,
I thought the cinematography in this film was fantastic, though.
Fantastic.
Very like it doesn't involve itself in any of the drama. Like it's kind of it's putting you there, but it's many a times. Yes, many a times. Yeah, very well shot.
Got it. On my list also, which I was supposed to watch this week, which I haven't. So it's my loss.
It's okay. You can take your time.
I will do. Yes.
Yeah.
And another next one is Mahaaveeran. So Mahaaveeran, basically, I had a lot of expectation for the film because it's Bharat Shankar, it's Madonna Sebastian's Madonna Ashwin's second film and Sivakarthikeyan film. That too added with the great promos that really intrigued my interest. And intrigued, and I didn't watch I didn't catch up with the promotions after that, but I really got to the theaters and surprised with how it's so unique with its premise. It really subverts the angry young man trope, and the film lays out its story on your face. Actually, what you're going to see in the end, everything is laid out in the story, but in a meta way, like it's a ode to storytelling. Actually, he's a comic artist. So he makes a superhero genre comic, and suddenly things. He also, but he isn't like the characters he writes. He is a timid guy, and suddenly he gets a bravery because of some incident, and kind of a superpower.
Very interesting.
Very interesting for a Tamil masala film, and how.
Yeah, and even taking the idea of a hero and trying to put it in a very different packaging.
They put it into the hero. I mean, heroism. Exactly. Angry young man trope. The angry young man trope is too much infused in our country. Now it really puts in meta different way, and even the fight scenes. I mean, Mahaaveeran is the coolest movie of this year in Indian
with the
cinema.
background score and everything.
Interesting choices for a background score, like flamenco in a fight scene. That's something impressive, and even the last sequence, like and the catharsis the film makes with its characters, like how even the smallest catharsis, the mom's character and Mishkin's villain characters, he isn't like a smart villain. He's like
he's dumb.
Dumb villain, and the small character, Yogi Babu's character, which is another great.
That
character
part was hilarious though.
Aachar Kumar was some great character of him, and how it satirizes some of the political situations here in Tamil Nadu, and satirizes, and how smartly it puts setups and payoffs, impressive setups and payoffs, and realistic fight sequences for a Tamil film of sorts. Something that really impressed me a lot, and Vijay Sethupathi voicing it even more made it something even more cool for a film. It's something it doesn't try to be cool, and doesn't try to be cool like some films do here. It is cool. Like I mean, I miss the inspiration element from Tamil cinema a lot. Indian movies. I mean, you get the high, you get everything, but inspiration, no, you don't really get a lot. But Mahaaveeran did get inspired because I could see myself in Satya's character. So that's how you get the inspiration from a character, and you build on yourself. That's something you don't really get from a lot of movies, and Mahaaveeran did it. Something Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy did it.
Spider-Man 1 and 2, yes, I agree with it.
Yes.
Interestingly.
Yeah. Even Spider-Man 2 parallels are there in this film too.
There actually are there, huh? And yeah, actually. I didn't think of it. Actually didn't
And
think
there
of
is
it,
a
but yeah.
and I also saw Vagabond manga reference in the film actually. They also put
Okay.
Vagabond reference, and some it's really cool to see, and I want this to shape up as a graphic novel or comic or something for by the creators. They have to make it. They have to make it happen for some time. And PG-13 film is rare these days. PG-13 film is rare in the Indian cinema. That's a pure PG-13 film. Pure PG-13, something Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, this also you can compare to Across the Spider-Verse. Like Across the Spider-Verse has ironies throughout. Ironies, it plays with ironies. Just like that,
Yeah.
Mahaaveeran also plays with ironies. And that's how it's made. I mean, people had issues with the last act, but I didn't have it because they laid it out in the first place. So I didn't have any issues.
I mean,
It was
this
really
is the
great.
kind of film which even my parents enjoyed watching something like this. Even they loved something like this. So, I mean, I think the film works for so many people and in many ways, and there are multiple things that are working in general. So, I think it's a very well made film also in general. But
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for another next venture of Sivakarthikeyan and Madonna.
Yeah, Madonna. Yeah. You can go ahead with your next pick, which is Rocky or Rani ki Prem Kahani.
Yeah. So basically, Rocky or Rani. First from the first trail. Sorry.
No. My I had to charge my laptop. That's why I was. Did your audio go off? Rocky और
Yeah.
रानी का नाम
So
लेकर ही.
It's working.
so Rocky or Rani ki Prem Kahani. I didn't have any expectations first of all. I didn't know the film itself got released. I don't know I don't know the film because at that time Bobby Oppenheimer and I didn't know
Yeah.
how the film was. But people said that it was like there is this film called Santosh Subramaniam in Bomarilu in Telugu. Tamil remake is Santosh Subramaniam. So they said that my mom and dad watched it and they said that it's good movie. You can watch it, and I watched it and totally surprised by it because. You have the least of the expectation for a film and go into it and you are surprised by it means it's a good film of sorts I think. And I loved how it constantly questions. I think you guys made a podcast on from the film
We
which
are, I mean,
essentially speaks.
but yeah, like I'm the Karan Johar represent here. So yes.
Yes, you guys made it extensively, so I can't really add a lot of things, but still I'll try my best. So like how the Alia Bhatt's father character
Yes.
he's a Kathak dancer and
Yeah.
and Rocky Randhawa going into his home and she goes into her home and both of them exchange their ideologies and beliefs and how both of them change and how it comments on this reformative justice. That
Yes.
thing was for a mainstream
Yeah.
film, reformative justice, calling out wokeism, calling out cancel culture is something. I mean, it's on the face, but when I think of it, Rocky Randhawa is a character who doesn't really have the rational to understand by words, by visual something. He wants to understand by loud words. So that loudness really translated well for me. I mean, if you understand the characters, you can really understand. But I mean, that we Tamil people saw this template a long time back with Bomarilu or Santosh Subramaniam or another movie, Kadalukku Mariyadai. So that's how we are accustomed with this template. But what surprised me was that it discussed the gender tropes, gender roles and how reversal of gender roles and how family trauma, familial trauma is passed on from
Generational
one
trauma.
breaking the generational trauma.
Yep.
That was really impressive with the last Kathak dance with Ranveer Singh throwing up it, and that was really cool. That was really great. That was really great cathartic cinematic moment. I wish I could have watched it in theater, but I don't care, man, because I have a projector.
No. I don't think it would have. I mean, I watched it in a cinema. This is on my list, but this is on my list not because I don't think this is anywhere near my favorite Karan Johar film, which I think a lot of
Yeah,
people think.
definitely. Not
Uh,
favorite Karan Johar film, I won't say, but it's
yeah.
a good, it's
No,
great for the.
it's a good film. I mean, I think the biggest draw of the film is Ranveer Singh and whatever he's doing with the Ranveer Singh character, and
Yes,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the dynamic goes on with him and the Alia Bhatt's father character, of course. But I also
yeah,
do think they have very good chemistry together. The
exactly,
two of them,
exactly,
I think they play off each other really. Not the father and
exactly.
Ranveer Singh and Alia Bhatt. Like I think they two have like a really good chemistry, and
I pretty much had, Shabna Azmi and Dharmendra's role. That was pretty much like comic relief, and
yep.
I didn't
Yeah.
think that really served the purpose.
Mhm.
It was confusing for me. That was
Mhm.
confusing for me. That didn't really work with me. But still,
Mhm.
but the whole of the movie, it really got the mess. It really got the message right
Yep.
to the audience. So I
Yep.
think that served the purpose for
Yeah.
me. And soundtrack also, I got surprised with the film, because when that Tum Kya Mile dropped, it was a Gerua. Why I'm getting Gerua vibes again?
Yes.
Why? And
Yeah, but I
then
mean,
when I watched the film,
Mhm.
everything was sort of it's on the right place. It's good. It's really good. And Ve Kamle is my favorite from the
Mm.
soundtrack. I love that. I love
Yeah, but I
I
think
think,
it's a matter of directors only. Like what you mentioned about
yeah,
Gerua and like this, which is actually a very good
yeah,
point. I never
yeah.
thought about it because I would rather erase Dilwale from my memory. But
But
I haven't.
there genuinely seems to have been a certain amount of effort put into the background score of the film also.
yes, yeah,
Because I mean there are no themes in this, right?
I don't
Background
think so. I
musically.
mean, there's
No,
that
no, no.
But it
really
really
there's that rap song that Alia Bhatt gets at the beginning, which is a bit
I mean
yeah.
both. Even Ranveer Singh gets a certain rap. I mean my point is there's a
Mm.
certain idea for the film and which is consistent throughout.
Yes, yes,
So
it is.
Yeah,
musically, the film is working on a certain level because it
Yeah,
has been directed to a certain. So I mean, I'm sure they
exactly.
didn't have the music before they were shooting stuff,
yeah,
most of it. But it's great work by I think Pritham who did the background score as well,
Yeah,
who kind of makes his level
Mm.
go up to the same frequency
Yeah,
for whatever Johar really shot for the film.
yeah.
And
exactly,
interesting stuff.
exactly.
And I mean, I think whoever is familiar with Johar's filmography, like it or not, this is deconstructing a lot of the tropes he has
His own
made. He
tropes.
has,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that is your,
Yeah,
like, I mean, I know we have people with us who are, like, not here, but in general, who are not
Who
fans of the
co-hosts on
filmmakers.
podcast.
So I'm like, that is fine, that is no problem, but you have to acknowledge with some of his films, he has taken what he established and changed it or whatever,
Mhm.
molded it into different ways. So this is
Yeah.
another step in that direction. I would rather have him write his scripts though, because I'm a fan of his writing, but
Mm-hmm.
I think people really
Not
connected with
Shashank
this,
Khaitan.
so I will. So I'm who am I to judge? He can only direct his like. So
Or
yeah,
not right.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever.
yes. I
My
rewatched Kalhonaha recently, and I agree with you, through
he
how
is
how
Oh
his
hilarious.
writing
yeah.
is
I
good.
saw you rewatched Kalona as well on
Yeah.
Letterboxd.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is a
Dhruv
bloody
has
funny movie, yes. Also heartbreaking, etc., etc. But yes, later on
yeah, yeah,
Kalona Ho
yeah.
someday, when
Some
Sanjeet
other day.
also
Yes.
rewatches it and also loves it. Uh,
Hopefully.
hopefully.
अभी ना जाओ छोड़कर के दिल अभी भरा नहीं
Dhruv, you can go
I
ahead
will
with your
rattle
list.
through mine very quickly.
Because
Okay.
also Nanpakal and Rocky Rani have
Tokyo
been
Rani
covered
have
already.
already been covered.
Yeah.
My fifth pick, I didn't know what to pick because I've watched there are very few films I like because I'm a Khadus person.
Ah,
Three of Us by Avinash Arun I have put here, which
another film
are,
which does nature and characters
I
really
know,
well.
of course,
That way.
that's why I like it, no?
I'm not making fun, I'm being serious.
No, no, it says,
Yeah.
no, I like it. I do like it though. A lot of it I like because of the vibe of it rather than, the
Mm.
actual machinations of the plot as such. Like, I do like being
Mm-hmm.
in that world. I like the calmness and sort of meditative sort of vibe of the whole film. I'm also
Yeah,
going along
yeah,
with 2, 3 characters or actors, any 2 actors especially, who I just genuinely respond to. Shifali Shah, I
yeah,
think I can
yeah,
respond. She's one of those actors who I respond to in everything. I've realized
yeah,
she can be whatever in the worst film, and I'll still respond to her as a performer. So in
yeah, yeah.
this, of course, I think she gets to do a lot with very few words. She gets to do a lot with her expressions. I think that was lovely. And I'm still not certain if this is a profound take on
I
dementia
mean,
and memory, and like there's just too many films maybe I've seen which I think are
mhm,
addressing similar material in a way which is different and similar both. So like you've
mhm,
got
mhm.
Western films which have done it. Like I know Amor by Haneke is not exactly the same, but it has slightly similar.
Similar
The
beat. Yeah, yeah,
Father by Florian Zeller
correct.
is doing the same thing in different ways. And in Hindi, we have You, Me or Hum, which I mentioned when I wrote about Three of Us, which is also, but it is doing it on a melodramatic level. And I do
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like
yeah,
Kajol's
yeah.
performance in it. So I'm just saying that I like it. It's just not like, revolutionary, which I think a lot of
It
people are
isn't
sort of.
revolutionary, but the kind of idea
It's
it is kind of
sensitive, yeah.
intent, नीयत क्या है पिक्चर की, वो बात आ जाती है ना फिर,
No,
सिंपल सी
there's
बात.
everything's good about it. I just don't. I
Yeah,
think, but we discussed this. I think a little bit that I do think
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
contradiction in the writing and the directing sometimes. Like the writing is too flowery for the staid direction of the whole film, which is there. I don't want to
yeah.
criticize it.
I mean, I wouldn't completely
Good.
disagree. I wouldn't
Yeah,
completely disagree,
yeah.
but I think
So,
it's its own
but I
own
did
lane.
very much
That's
like
how
it,
I.
and I have been playing parts of it in my head,
Okay,
daily. So
interesting.
Rocky
Hmm.
Rani is done, Nanpakal is done. My number two, number one basically are exchangeable, but number two is 12th Fail, Vidhu Vinod Chopra,
Yeah,
starring
yeah,
Vikrant Massey. I think everyone is right now in love with that movie because it's come out
yeah.
online.
More
Everyone's
so
watching
on,
it,
yeah, after it's on
right?
Hotstar. Yes,
Yeah, so I think
yes.
a lot of people are just getting a taste of it, and I think a lot of what has already been talked about in terms of familiar material but different treatment. I don't even think this is
Yeah,
this is I think familiar material, familiar treatment done bloody well, almost.
bloody. Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like the
yeah.
treatment isn't even like something radical or whatever. This has a lot of
No,
beats and everything which are
yeah,
you'll follow in a normal inspirational
yeah, yeah,
story
yeah.
such as that. But
Hmm,
I hate,
hmm.
and sorry Adityan, you can counter me on this because I know you like the film, but I think the donkey
I
comparison
haven't
sort of
watched.
no, the donkey comparison is what
Okay,
I'm
okay.
bringing up
Yeah.
slightly here. I think one of the notes I made, or we made, I think after watching 12th Fail was it was one of the few films in which we didn't have people like really putting comedy for comedy's sake and like having like
Hmm.
wacky side characters or anything. It just all felt very much like together of a piece, and all the supporting characters to me in 12th Fail have like a very um fleshed out purpose, but not they are not the film isn't trying to flesh them out, if that makes sense. They kind of
Yeah.
just
I mean,
naturally
again,
fit
they
into the
exist
world.
in the whole space. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I do think one of the big virtues of the film, apart from some of the sequences are really well directed. You can see the sequence where he goes to Delhi and the way they show Delhi's chaos, for instance, I think is terrific with a montage. I
Hmm.
think it's superimposed on his face from whatever I remember.
Yeah, yeah.
I was talking to someone who said they didn't like the flute sound in the film, and I'm like, really? I
I
was
hope
I
that
was
person
like,
is not your friend anymore.
no, no, they have come on the podcast also before. Uh, yeah,
Okay, you tell me later. It's
yeah. No, but I was very surprised. I was like, really? I was like almost on the
ah,
verge of sobbing, but I was also a little taken out because I was thinking about where it was taken from. So
Pathak Panchali.
yeah, exactly. But anyways,
Hmm.
lots of great things. Vikrant Massey is terrific. I think we've already.
Yeah.
If you want to, the weird thing is we've actually clubbed that movie with two absolute, well, not absolute stinkers. One reprehensible
Animal
morally, and
and Sam
one
Bahadur
absolutely terrible. So yes, to listen to that more about that movie,
episode.
you can listen to our episode in which we talk about 12th Fail and Animal and Sam
Sam
Bahadur
Bahadur.
together. So 12th Fail
And the
is a
time codes are there if
shining,
they do.
yes, title goes, and this 12th Fail is essentially a shining ray of light in the
Yeah.
darkness of Vanga world. And yes,
12th
sorry.
Fail is on my list
Yes.
as well.
And people are taking the wrong message from the film. I haven't watched the film, but people are taking the wrong message that they want a girl like Sagarda and not
good
to
lord.
hard work like
Shit.
Manoj. Why, man? Why? You are doing this for every underdog story, guys. Man, guys, please stop. Kind of
But
thing.
it's also the internet, right? Internet is just anyway.
I mean, I was like reading some other things also where, oh yeah, I was reading, for example, Wonka came out recently. I really liked it, the Paul King film. And just my mistake, I opened Letterbox reviews and what were they filled of? Timothy Chalamet thirst tweets or thirst reviews or whatever. I was like, come on, guys. Like, I mean, I know this is right about the
Saltburn
movie.
also, they are making it like that.
It's similar, the discourse or whatever. Yeah.
Really, they're making the discourse about wanting girls to be like, oh my god.
No, guys to be like.
Yeah,
but
you
yeah.
say Sanjeet, 12th Fail was also on your.
So yeah, I didn't appear on that episode, but I thoroughly loved 12th Fail. I watched it during Mami, which was possibly one of the better decisions I took during that time in Bombay. Uh, and also, if you listen to that episode, if people who are listening to this episode, and if you go and listen to that episode, Aryan does a great impression of me, asking him to come and watch 12th Film with me, and which he didn't. But again, I love 12th Fail. Absolutely loved it. I cried in the film. I laughed
also
with the
did
film.
a little bit.
I didn't have any expectations from. In fact, I switched off the trailer merely seconds into it because I was like, I've seen this. I don't want to watch something like this again. With Vinod Chopra, I didn't have any expectation. I actually finished his filmography during pandemic, completely. Even his lesser known works, which I've somehow found in some.
But in the English
I did
version.
Broken Horses. Yes,
Broken,
yes.
sorry, not Slow Horses.
Written by, co-written with Abhijat Joshi, which again feeds into our talk about Donkey. But yeah, again, we're not going there. I think I really didn't sort of get into Chopra's storytelling skills because I was like, it's just too punchy with the formalism. In the sense, the way it is written, the way it is shot, the way it is told, the specificities kind of would take it a little far, like take it away from the viewer. Even though maybe it's well made, like Eklavya is a very well made film, but somehow it just takes it away from the viewer. I may be not explaining it really well, but maybe sometime later I'll explain it with better words. But what 12 Fail does is with the making it ditches the formalism and it brings you closer
to the character,
to the subject also. And I think that is the biggest win the film really has. It really and again, you've spoken about sequences, the stretches. I think the beginning sequence itself takes you from a certain place to a certain place, and I was like, it's just so brilliantly well done. The way it integrates the background score, the way the camera kind of moves, certain sequences. I'm not revealing too much because Adityan hasn't seen the film, so I would want him to watch the film to enjoy it, and then we can discuss it at some point, later. But again, like, it's the filmmaking which is on forefront, and it's telling the same old story so well that it just shoves away those ideas about certain subjects and takes you on the ride with it. So brilliant film. Dhruv, you can continue with your
my final
last pick
thing. But I kind of put it at number one because also I've not actually put it anywhere else, and never it's been one of those things where I've actually thought about this movie a lot, but I've not actually put it on a list. This is Lust Stories 2, but big
specifically
big specifics. The Konkana Sen directed short segment, which runs for 43 minutes, and it starts at 27 minutes 30 seconds and ends at 1 hour 4 minutes and 50 seconds. You do not, I repeat, you do not need to see 1 second of the film before it or 1 second of the film after it, because both are absolutely garbage. So please excuse
yourself. The
yourself.
one after Mirror though, I
Sujoy
actually
Ghosh.
forgot. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Yes. So no, please, because I know we discussed this when we talked about Ajib Dastans and Neeraj Ghaiwan
This is a
shorts.
good companion piece to
Yes,
that
yes, but we
Gili
discussed
Pucci.
this, and that time I was more enthusiastic about cinema. So even though the first two shorts in that anthology were garbage, I like soldiered on and like watched it. In this one, Last Stories 2, I began watching it. I messaged Sanjeet after 30 minutes. I can't. Like, I genuinely can't go forward after seeing the first shot. It was so bad. I was like, why would you begin with this? This is so stupid. But anyways, my rage aside, the film is amazing because Konkana Sen Sharma is a very
Directed it.
accomplished director. I think the segment is called quote unquote The Mirror, which is a very good title, I think, for the film. And the film, for whoever's unaware, it focuses basically on a working woman who happens to come to her apartment and notices her house help having sex with uh, a man at that point in time who turns out to be her husband on her bed. And rather than do what people would generally do in this circumstance, which is fire her or complain about her, she who's sort of sexually frustrated and is not keeping well health wise a lot, starts taking enjoyment in coming and watching them and sort of taking pleasure from doing so. And the mirror in this is sort of how she sees them is through like a mirror in in her apartment, which like reflects their image of having sex, essentially, which you can expand into. Basically, it's almost like you're commenting on how people watch porn. It's almost like how people use the screen to watch porn and sort of their ideas towards it. But I think one of the brilliant things about this, and which, as you mentioned, sort of leads very well into Gilipuchi also a little bit, the Neeraj Ghaiwan shot, is how it plays with the
featuring
idea.
Konkana as well.
Yeah, featuring how it plays with the idea of class structure also within this. And it's also very entertaining, very funny. Both actresses are like absolutely phenomenal in this. Tilotoma Shom has been a great actress for a while, I think. And I think she's like phenomenally good in this. And Amruta Subhash, I think, is also both of them. They have
accomplished
confrontation
actor as
scene
well.
in this, which I thought was like phenomenally well acted.
About that scene, sorry to interrupt. On one of the round tables, I don't remember which one, Karan Johar and Konkana are together, and Karan Johar mentions that that scene could have only been directed by an actor, and it all kind of makes sense in a way because you kind of can only get those twitches and those nuances correct if you know the process or the mechanism of what that actor would do to get that performance out.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a lot of, and I think that kind of transpires a lot of emotion. And that scene, I think it's a single shot. I don't know if it cuts on an OTS or something, but it's a wide or two shot with the both of them at night. And I think acting really happens when you keep the camera in wide spaces, still and wide spaces, because then you're seeing the actor really perform. So
Both
I
body
think
language and everything, sort of not just
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just fascinating how it sort of comments on how a upper class person takes pleasure in like really perverse things, but then when it comes to realization, they can sort of very easily push down on the person who they are taking pleasure watching, essentially. And why is this woman having to actually use that apartment as a space of having an intimate moment with her husband occasionally, right? I think all that is done in a way which we have, as Sanjeev has discussed. There is no hand holding, ki you should learn this, you should do that, or whatever. It's all coming in through the plotting of the film and just the way the story unfolds. And I think there are some sequences which sort of use the camera spanning and all that also really well. Like do a lot of transitions in a very effective way. And I would, like I would also I don't know. I hope I was basically skimming through the film a little bit before. So I was like, I need to watch this properly without having the baggage of watching the absolute dross that was before this and after this to, just see how much it. I do think it will still hold up just like Gilly Bucci did because it is so well directed. And I think, so I mean, yeah, Konkana Sen Sharma, please do more work. You are great.
Make more films.
And please, whenever you're part of these anthologies, make sure that your shot is first or last so that I don't have to, suffer through the absolute nonsense made by some of our filmmakers, Hindi filmmakers.
Esteemed filmmakers, yeah.
क्या हो रहा है ये सब मेरे घर में? क्या है ये सब? क्या हो रहा है मुझे? इधर क्या हो रहा है? आप हमको यहाँ से छिपके देख रहे थे? शट अप! काहे को शट अप? हाँ? आपको शर्म नहीं आ रही है? इधर से छुपकर हमको आप देख रहे थे? ये तो कोई बहन कैसे खुला है? छी! इतनी गंदी औरत है, छी! क्या?
अरे सीमा शांत रहना।
अरे एक तो मेरे बेड पे घटिया काम कर रही है और उल्टा मुझ पे इल्जाम। घटिया क्या घटिया? मैं जो कर रही है ना अपने मर्द के साथ कर रही है। आपके जैसा नहीं दूसरे लोग को देख के मत जाता है। क्या गंदी औरत है बाबा?
मैं काय बोलते तू येडी आली का?
मैं गंदी हूँ? हाँ? मेरे बेड पे नंगी लगी हूँ पड़ी थी तू। गंदी मैं हूँ।
Sorry मैडम, प्लीज।
अपने आदमी के साथ करना ना, अपने घर पे जाके करना।
In my list, we've already covered Jigarthanda DoubleX, Nanpakal Nerathu Mayakkam, which has been spoken about throughout the year now. Exactly a year.
Yeah.
Already. 12th fail. So I'll speak about my other two entries. Dhruv has asked me not to speak about the festival films that we watched.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make sense. And I'm assuming when the festival
it will come
films
out this year. So yeah.
In
you can mention it.
I
mention the name. Yeah.
Okay, the film which I really loved at Mami and I wanted to put in my list was, no, I did like others also, but yeah, the film which I loved and which isn't in the list is Stolen by Karan Tejpal, and it's a fantastically made film. It takes like the whole indie route genre and puts it into just commercial genre filmmaking, and I think it does it really well. And I'll segue from this into my other entry in the list, which is Joram, because both of these films are technically very sort of independent film ideas or subjects, and they've been put into genre filmmaking, which is the need for today if indie filmmakers need to succeed. You need to
Joram
put your
do
ideas.
well, Sanjeet, on the box office?
Absolutely no. But okay, again, Joram, directed by Devashish Makhija, who's previously made Ajji and Bhosle.
Yeah.
And both of these films I really love.
They're very art house though. Very much.
Very art house though.
Yeah.
And it's a great departure for Makhija himself into Joram.
So they are, I mean, at least Ajji was a genre film in some senses.
Bhosle was more art housey, I would say. Yeah. But it also had a star like Manoj Bajpayee as part of it. So you can still take it to festivals and take it to places and sell it to Sony Live at least. At that point. Now I don't think so any films from that milieu or genre
I will also give you it's not insider scoop, but it's basically so Joram, that you are saying this, but then it's stuck in a very awkward position of being indie and mainstream, because the publication I sometimes write for, I told them that I want to review Joram, and they contacted the publication and they basically never responded about the screener or anything. So I'm like, you're not even catering to that screener type review.
The idea which will kind of,
and the audience will anyways be limited for this type of movie, right?
Then I think it's a bigger issue with the producers and
the not Devashish Makhija, the producers.
Yeah, because I think even the release policy, if you remember, I told you I wanted to take my parents for the film. I wanted to watch it with my parents because I was like, this film first of all needs to be supported as well, because if you don't support something like this, there won't be films that could get made, and you'll only see something stereotypical. And stereotypical isn't bad either, but in general, my point being, the release strategy was so poorly managed because it didn't release in so many cities. I think it only got released in I think the metro cities, I think at the end of the day,
It
and
got
with
released
whatever
here and
two.
got taken off in a week. That never happens
So
in Dubai.
so yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it kind of puts, sheds light on distribution strategies you're releasing. I don't know what was their confidence into releasing their film right after Sam Bahadur and Animal as well. It
No.
came out on 8th December. I'm sure most of the
They
people
had
don't know
planned to
about it.
release it with them at one point, right?
It was earlier touted to release on the 1st of December. So
Yeah.
I don't know what is the thought that goes behind releasing films. I mean, I'm sure they wanted to release it this year, but they had a week prior to Animal also, which was empty, and and the Tiger 3 wasn't working well either. So I mean, more on the film. I think Joram is the story of Dasuru, and we've discussed this film on the other episode where we've discussed
Live
Mami films.
stream where we were half dead. But
Not
yeah.
live stream, but
Not live stream, but yes.
live
Guys, as in
recording.
we were together actually for the
We were-
first time in Bombay discussing it. But we
Yeah,
were half
yeah,
sleepy, half dead, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it gets loads of things correct in terms of genre filmmaking and the character writing. Makija does something very interesting here also, because even in Ajji and in Bhosle, he's paralleling kind of his protagonist with another character, which are not necessarily the title characters or the central characters
Yes.
necessarily, but the other character's
But
journey
there's here
is
three
also
parallels
equally
almost.
important. Almost three parallels. The other character's journey is almost equally important and driving force
He's
for
the
the
most
film,
my
for
most
the
my
narrative,
most interesting character is him only. So yes.
which is Mohammad Zishan Ayub's character. I
Yeah.
forgot the name of the character though.
No, it's basically a play on the Bang though. That almost for me. Like a
I mean, it's
definition of the
subverting that
Bang,
idea of
what I think
Adityan.
Adityan was mentioning about,
Yeah.
which was the movie? I think Mahaaveeran was the
Chittha
one which was
or
playing. No, which was
Mahaaveeran.
playing
Okay.
around with the trope of
Trope
the
of
hero,
angry.
right? Yeah, that hero. So I think this Zishan
Yeah,
Ayub is
yeah.
the perfect person to, totally underplay that and like just
Yeah,
be
yeah.
completely lost. I was like, this guy
Yeah.
is like whatever, like he's meant to be all heroic and he's totally lost in it. But anyways, you continue
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the rest of
No, yeah, I think that's pretty much about Joram, because I don't want to reveal much because I would want people to watch
people to
this film.
watch it.
It's
Yeah.
a really, really well made film.
What is it? Like a
It is-
survival thriller?
It is a survival thriller. It is a chase film technically, and more so,
Got some really good
again,
action, I think, no?
really good action. Yes, yes. I didn't mention it anywhere, but yes, it does. It does action really well as well. Again, activism isn't really activism. It is part of the narrative. So I like all those bits, and with the activism bit, I want to transition into my last pick from my favorites list, which is a Marathi film. It's called Atma Pamphlet, and it's a good take on this person. And I mean, the film takes place through the lens of a young protagonist. Starts off pre-teens and then into teens, and then goes a bit into the post-teens college bit, but like very briefly. But Atma Pamphlet translates to auto. It's not, instead of autobiography, it's on auto bio pamphlet. A smaller,
like because there is not enough of a big story, sort of like that, right?
big story, or the character isn't isn't Sanjay Dutt or whatever.
My God. Okay.
No, I'm just looking for a
understand,
whatever big parallel. It's a very well made film. It's again talking. I mean, I didn't expect the film would go into certain places. Again, activism isn't really activism. It is part of the narrative, and certain stagey bits work into well because it kind of sets up the narrative in a certain way. Uh, uh, there are certain political things that the film is talking about, some sort of extreme political things also, but it does it in very simplistic ways, and it makes sense because the narrative and the perspective and the point of view is from a child's
right?
So it makes sense. All the stagey bits, all the infatuation bits, they kind of seep into the narrative and this kid, and the reveals is the certain kind of reveals that happen, and it's just very interestingly well made, again by this very interesting independent filmmaker Ashish Bende. And the title character, I mean, not the title character, the central character in the film is also Ashish Bende. So I'm assuming he's taken a lot. I haven't seen any of his interviews or stuff to get an idea about.
Mhm.
But I'm assuming he's taken a lot from his life and put into the film.
Yeah.
It's co-written with Paresh Mukashe, who possibly I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly.
Mhm.
But he also made another interesting Marathi film this year called Valvi, which was a good black comedy thriller.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think Atma Pamphlet, and it's on Z5. So people who would want to watch it, again a film. I think it came out in theaters, and I think it did well, at least in the Marathi circuits, which it should have, because it is. And I think the Marathi comedy genre is a space in itself.
Mhm.
You know, uh, because you get to see so much in general. You know, a certain kind of rootedness with the
Mhm.
language and everything, and the comedy style. You know, like how Malayalam cinemas comedies are a certain
Mhm.
genre and style
Mhm.
in themselves. So yeah, I think this is pretty much my list. I
This is
tried to.
definitely going 2 parts, huh? This is not going in 1 part.
I think we wrapped it under 2 hours and less than
It's
your
3
12th film.
hours.
Yeah, we've touched 3 hours.
I think so.
Okay, okay.
It's gonna be a
I didn't
two-parter.
realize.
It's gonna be a two-parter. Devi's
Um,
exit will be our primer
the segue.
for the segue, and then
Yeah.
Adityan, me, and Sanjeet will occupy 1 part with our favorites. I
So if
think.
we are going 2-parter, I'll just add my special
Honorable
mention.
mention.
Honorable, just one, because I mean there are more, but I'll link my full list.
We'll make a
in
post
the,
where we will list all the top 5 or
yeah,
10s of our
yeah.
whatever we have.
Yeah.
So yes,
One film which I really liked was The Song of the Scorpions, which is the last film with Irfan Khan appearance.
Hmm.
Again, really well made film. It's directed by Anup Singh, and he also made another really interesting film called Kissa with Irfan Khan as well, and Tilote Mashom. Uh, and this film is a very. I don't want to. If I tell you, huh?
Folktale-ish.
It has riffs of a lot of folk tales, a certain rootedness into Rajasthani culture as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and if I tell you the comparison to, or not comparison, a parallel to another film, it'll take the twist away. And
Okay, fine.
I would want you to watch the film without knowing
Sure.
anything about the film. I
I
mean,
did
if you
watch.
haven't watched it,
I did watch
huh?
15 minutes and I slept again.
Okay.
So
But you wouldn't get what the film is really about, right? And it has again,
it has a very
amazingly
distinct
well
shooting
shot.
style
Huh?
even in those 15 minutes. So
Yeah. The
it
camera's
the camera
always moving.
hovers somewhere. Like
Hovers. It's
15
always
minutes.
moving.
Yeah,
Even in
it's
the
like always.
smallest of places, the camera is pushing. And I'm like, I was thinking, like, how did they even shoot in that small spaces also? But
Yeah.
that's a
It reminds me a
separate thing.
little bit like in the opening segments of the one Buddha Dev Das Gupta film I've seen. So
Yeah, Anwar Ka Jab Kissa.
yes,
But this is
different.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll go into certain spaces.
Surrealist. It will be a little surrealist, I would assume.
It has elements, yes.
Yes.
And it has that trance-like quality because there is a lot of singing that is involved
Yeah.
as an element.
Why did you think I
So,
slept, Sanjeet? Because of the trance-like quality.
yeah. It's a good way to sleep though.
Yeah.
Instead of crying to sleep. Very bad joke.
Right.
But yeah, this is pretty much it.
Any
We've
more thoughts,
covered
Adityan? Sorry, I mean, thank you for firstly hanging around for all
for
the
3
entire
hours. Yeah.
thing. So I know you're sleepy, which is fine, which is understandable. It's 1:30 in the night in India. So
Yes.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I think that's
Thank
very
you,
Yes,
Adityan.
thank you
Yeah.
for inviting.
yeah.
I'll just wrap it up quickly saying thank you so much for listening to people who've supported us till now. Thank you to all the listeners and supported us, whatever. Please make sure you follow us on Spotify. It helps us to reach out to more people. On Instagram at queenisdead.film podcast. Thank you to all the immersive cinema podcast people, including Curious Adityan, who you can follow on Instagram at Curious Adityan, and their Instagram page which is immersive cinema. And Devi on our Instagram page at Film Trans, Dhruv on Instagram page at Terminal Cinema, and me on Pixel_Baba. Lots more episodes coming out in the next few months. This is the beginning of new season, a new year.
Being at the end of the episode, yes.
This is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Khatam.
आ
सखिया मन नेरो नेरो बांच घन आओ सखिया मन नेरो नेरो बांच घन